Just then, Yemo realized the use of the trial tablet. It wasn't just a simple ranking. Any cultivator would have an enlightenment under such intense pressure and killing intent. This was beneficial to one's cultivation. At the same time, Yemo realized why so many cultivators gave up hope after feeling that terrifying killing intent. If they failed, it would indeed affect their mental state, but if they succeeded, it would be a huge inspiration. Subconsciously, Yemo started to emit his own power and killing intent. The pressure on him immediately eased up. Realizing this was the key, Yemo completely released his power. When Yemo reached above 18 meters, he felt the killing intent materialize again. In just an instant he felt he was in an ancient battlefield. Countless spirit beasts, cultivators, and demons all roared at him. At this moment, Yemo didn't dare to hold back at all. He released Zisu and the illusion cloud strikes. Under the purple sword rays, the spirit beasts, cultivators, and even demons were killed wave after wave. Yemo thought of the time he was at the herb plane and had killed countless earth scorpions. The bodies of spirit beasts piled up beneath him, and he stood taller and taller. Soon, Yemo felt that the spirit beasts grow less and less and the area ahead opened up. Before he could take a breath, a level 6 mammoth charged over. A level 6 primary stage mammoth. Yemo took a step back. This was equal to nascent soul state level 1 power. Before the mammoth even got here, the powerful chi enveloped him as though if he hesitated for a moment, he would immediately be devoured by the mammoth. Yemo quickly used purple eye soul sever along with illusion cloud 5th and 6th strikes with all his might. He felt a wave of weakness. Yemo's illusion cloud formation kill strike brought countless sword rays and formed a yin-yang dual kill formation. He knew that this kill formation wasn't able to do much to the mammoth, but it could stop the beast from devouring him. Sizzle, Yemo felt his spirit sense attack work and the illusion cloud formation kill strike tore the mammoth to pieces. Yemo breathed a sigh of relief. He didn't think this level 6 mammoth would be so easily killed by him. What was going on? Yemo knew that although his spirit sense attack and illusion cloud formation kill strike were powerful, they wouldn't be enough to kill the level 6 spirit beast. He didn't expect the combination of the two to have such power. Suddenly, he felt the pressure lighten and he came to his senses. He was still at the trial tablet. What was going on? Yemo didn't understand. He saw Xiaofei and others try. They seemed very casual and didn't even use their magic artifacts. Since when did they fight like him? What is he doing? The few onlookers looked dazedly at Yemo. One golden core state level 4 hesitated before saying. He seemed to have released his magic artifact and it cast some purple light, but was stopped by something. Why is he attacking? He's just supposed to write his name down. The first cultivator asked again. I don't know, but he seems to have surpassed 21 meters. Another cultivator said. So what if he surpassed 21 meters? Many people use burst pills and can reach near 21 meters, but they can't even leave their names down. At this moment, Yemo saw a milky white empty tablet. He understood and murmured. So you don't need to fly very high, you just need to leave your name. Thinking about this, Yemo didn't hesitate and wrote the name, Yemo. He saw Xiaofei write his name. It had turned faint gold and immersed into the tablet. After he wrote his name, he waited for a while but it still didn't immerse into the tablet. Did he fail? Thinking about this, Yemo felt even greater pressure. He just used his full-powered attack and his spirit sense was weak. He couldn't stay up anymore and could only fall down slowly. He's coming down, he wrote Yemo. Look for his name. What rank is he? Yemo also looked around nervously, but when he reached the last name he still didn't see his name. How was this possible? Yemo looked up and down a few more times but still didn't see his name. Ha. The people from the square laughed. I told you, what's the point of going very high? If just anyone could leave their names behind on the trial tablet, it wouldn't be called the trial tablet. Yemo's heart sunk. He was sure he wasn't weaker than Xiaofei, but Xiaofei was ranked 11th. Meanwhile, he didn't even get a ranking. Something must have happened because only he was attacked and encountered a level 6 mammoth. Those contemptuous remarks made Yemo feel awkward. If it was during the day, Yemo could imagine how embarrassing it would be. But Emo was sure that it wasn't because he wasn't strong enough that he wasn't able to leave his name. Plus, the pressure had given him some enlightenments. Emo didn't care much about the trial tablets to begin with, and so he immediately left. He needed to find a place to form his soul and then go find Ning Xianxia. Ethereal Immortal Pond was an 8-star sect. Their management should be easier to contact than a 9-star sect. Perhaps he could see Xianxia. He couldn't stay here very long, but he could stay for 2 days to organize his thoughts. Just when Emo wanted to go to a hotel, he saw 2 golden core state cultivators rush out of a hotel and get on their flying spirit artifacts, heading out of the city. "Let's go to the North Gate," one of them said. Emo thought that the 2 must somehow be related to the city guards. The city management was very strict and people could only leave at certain times. Emo usually wouldn't care about this, but he was being very careful now. If the 2 could leave now, he would follow them. With this in mind, he followed them carefully. Even if he had to reach nascent soul state and organize his thoughts, he didn't have to be in the city. With Emo's stealth capabilities, the 2 golden core state cultivators didn't notice at all. Emo followed the 2 to South P City's North Gate and found more than 10 golden core state cultivators and even 1 nascent soul state cultivator there. As soon as the 2 arrived, the city gate restriction was opened and Emo quickly followed them out. Emo didn't dare to go immediately as there were too many cultivators here. He hid carefully. "How is it?" the nascent soul state cultivator asked immediately. The 2 golden core state cultivators answered. "We've calculated a 100-kilometer circle around the North Gate of all the hotels and recently renting cultivators. We're sure we didn't miss any." Emo thought, that Fu Rong had this much power? He could command this many golden core state and even nascent soul state cultivators. It seemed the Inbei 3 demons had taken action. Luckily, he didn't go find a hotel or he would have been blocked at the door. "Okay, the city has 6 exits right now. We're guarding the North Gate. I don't want any problems to occur at our gate. Even if an ant leaves now, we need to know. Tomorrow, our lightning cloud sect elders will come. No matter who he is, his soul will be sucked out and burned for daring to kill our core disciple," the nascent soul state cultivator said coldly. "Marshal Uncle Lee, don't worry, he is our mortal enemy. If he dares to come here, he will never be able to leave." The golden core state peak stage cultivator that Emo had followed said with killing intent. The nascent soul state cultivator nodded. "Okay, that guy is no simple character, be careful. Elder Tian will be here tomorrow morning at the latest. This guy ambushed Alfing at the Heartless Sea. If he wants to leave, he has to go past South Peace City, so you don't have to worry that he won't come." Emo just realized it was about that Tian Alfing he had killed. He was from a 9-star sect. If he wasn't careful, he wouldn't even know how he died tomorrow. He was really unlucky. He hadn't even found Xianxia yet, but he had already offended the Inbei 3 demons and a 9-star sect. Luckily, he had just left the city, or else he would have nowhere to hide when the elders of the sect arrived. Emo had faith in his stealth means, but he didn't dare to say if they would stand up to the 9-star sect elders. They were at least body condensation state or cauldron filling state power. Luckily, his name was left behind on the trial tablet or there would be no way they wouldn't pay attention to him. But Emo couldn't really blame himself. Who knew that this guy had such a powerful origin? Just for him, the sect was even daring to lock down South Peace City. Emo calmed down now. The sect was sure that he was going to come to the city, and in fact he had. He saw the sign that the cultivators aboard the ship were being compensated in spirit stones, and had guessed that they might all be set up by the Lightning Cloud sect. Luckily, he was careful and threw all of Tian Alfing's things into the Golden Page world. Even the nascent soul state cultivators didn't notice Emo, much less the golden core state cultivators. An hour later, Emo left the city gate quietly and got on his flying ship, leaving as fast as he could. By the time it was daylight, Emo didn't even know how far he had traveled. But his speed hadn't decreased at all, and the supply of top-grade spirit stones powering his artifact never stopped. He even used his cultivation essence lavishly to make the ship go faster. He would have used extreme-grade spirit stones if not for the fear that the ship wouldn't be able to handle it. The difference between the 9-star sect Lightning Cloud sect and the Ghost Immortal sect was huge. The highest power of the Ghost Immortal sect was only a hollow spirit state cultivator, and Yi Mo believed he had a way to get around hollow spirit state cultivators. 9-star sects had truth realization state cultivators, though, against whom he didn't have any confidence at all. So the only choice he had was to run. Due to Xiao Fei's name, South Peace City was even busier than usual the next day. The people also wanted to see Fang Zhongshi's reaction. They were both 9-star sect core disciples and wouldn't be satisfied losing out to the other. Many people guessed that Fang Zhongshi would come to try again, so they rushed to the trial tablet square. People discussed in so much detail that even which direction Xiao Fei's hair was floating to was mentioned. You don't know that after Xiao Fei tried, 2 more people tried and lost face. But that night, another person came to try. One golden core state cultivator from last night said, "There are too many people who don't know their own strength." Without saying, "I know those 3 didn't leave any marks." Of course, that cultivator was called Yi something. I remember him the most because he was too funny. He didn't leave his name, but he made a big scene. Yes, he even took out his magic artifact. It was the first time I've seen someone use their magic artifact at the trial tablet. What a joke. Another cultivator said. "Ha. You said he took out his magic artifact at the trial tablet?" A cold voice suddenly asked. They just noticed that it was a young nun standing not far away. Her hair was coiled behind her head, but she didn't have a whisk. Her snow-white skin and her snow-white Dao uniform accompanied with her extreme beauty made her seem like she didn't belong in the mortal world. "It's Ling Xiaoshuang, Dao named Qing Shuang." Someone immediately recognized her. "I know, Serene Dream Mosque, South Peace State's number 2 beauty." The cultivator stopped halfway, realizing his words were a bit offensive. But everyone realized who this extremely beautiful young nun was. She clearly came here for only one thing. She was about to reach nascent soul state, or else she wouldn't be here. Many people would come for the trial before they ascended to nascent soul state in order to gain enlightenment. People subconsciously started talking quieter. Many people's hearts skipped faster as though feeling honored that they could be so close to her. However, no one answered her question. Ling Xiaoshuang frowned and asked, "Who said that a cultivator took out his magic artifact at the trial tablet?" Her master had told her that those cultivators who took out their magic artifacts at the trial tablets were indescribable geniuses. Since the ancient times, there was only one nascent soul state cultivator who used his magic artifact at the nascent soul state trial tablet tens of thousands of years ago. When that cultivator reached nascent soul state tertiary stage, he killed a hollow spirit state cultivator. That wasn't all. Within 100 years, he reached truth realization state peak stage. However, for some reason, he wasn't accepted by the immortal Dao and was not allowed to ascend to the immortal realm. In his fury, he shattered the void, smashed open the barrier of Luo Yu continent, and left. Her master said that the earlier that the cultivator used a magic artifact on a trial tablet, the more genius they were. If what this cultivator said was real, someone used a magic artifact on the golden core state trial tablet, that person would be absurd. He was more powerful than that nascent soul state cultivator from tens of thousands of years ago, so she had to know who it was. That golden core state cultivator was pushed out by his friends and stood out, saying excitedly, "It's me. I saw him, Martial Sister Ling. Tell me." Ling Xiaoshuang nodded. The cultivator saw that Ling Xiaoshuang used a polite tone and felt as if he just fell into a soothing spring. His voice even changed a little. "Midnight last night, a cultivator came to the trial tablet. I think he was scared of being laughed at, and that's why he chose nighttime." Ling Xiaoshuang frowned and said, "No need to mention that. Tell me about the process." Yes, when that cultivator reached 18 meters and almost 21 meters, he suddenly took out a purple magic artifact and stopped at 21 meters. He used his magic artifact to attack for a while before going higher than 21 meters. He then marked his name. He's called. The cultivator paused to think of Yimo's name. "He's called Yimo," a cultivator next to him said. "But his name wasn't left on the trial tablet. I think he used some pills. It said that Feng Honest Tanhua pill has such effects." Ling Xiaoshuang gasped. She didn't expect there would really be someone who would use a magic artifact at the trial tablet. But why wasn't his name left behind? This wasn't right. Her master said that the nascent soul state cultivator tens of millenniums ago left his name behind, but his name was ranked first. First? Ling Xiaoshuang looked up on the tablet. The name was familiar. It had been there for 200 years and wasn't Emo seeing this. Many cultivators subconsciously looked at the tablet. Wait, how come I feel there's one less name on the tablet? One cultivator exclaimed. It's true. One name's missing. There are only 299 names, not 300. Someone else exclaimed. 299 names indeed. Ling Xiaoshuang murmured to herself. Actually, the top of the trial tablet seemed to have an extra white jade tablet, but it was empty without any markings. It floated above the golden core state trial tablet. Soar into existence. Ling Xiaoshuang almost blurted out. She was sure that Yemo's name was on that white jade tablet and that he was the golden core state trial tablet number 1, but his name wasn't shown due to some other reason. Ling Xiaoshuang knew that not even 9-star sect disciples would know what it meant to soar into existence. It wasn't just showing a tablet above the golden core state trial tablet and becoming number 1 on the trial tablet. It meant that the big change and disaster of the cultivation realm was impending. The golden core state trial tablet protected the person who soared into existence and wouldn't show his name, showing an empty tablet instead. Only when that person could protect himself would his name be shown on the tablet. Ling Xiaoshuang didn't know why her master knew about this, but she knew not many others were aware of this. It was simple if she wanted to find out whether Emo was that person who had soared into existence. If someone tried and successfully got onto the tablet, then 300 names would appear. However, the trial tablet would automatically remove the last person. The name on the soar into existence jade tablet would appear there forever. No matter how powerful people from the future generation were, they wouldn't be able to surpass the name on soar into existence. The tablets had been derelict on the square for countless years. All the people knew that the first name would exist there forever. But in the countless years, only the first name of the nascent soul state cultivator tablet had been marked for eternity. That nascent soul state cultivator named Chu Jiu, who used magic artifacts at the trial, had his name kept at first forever. But Chu Jiu didn't try any other trial tablets. Even a powerful figure like Chu Jiu wasn't able to have his name written on the soar into existence white jade tablet, meaning that he could be surpassed in the future. Emo might be the one who would surpass him. Who was he? What sort of fortune did he get to reach such a height? Ling Xiaoshuang walked to the golden core state trial tablet. She wanted to try to mark her name and also to test if Emo was that soar into existence person. She didn't like to show off and didn't even go to the golden core state hall of fame, but her master told her to try the golden core state trial tablet before forming her nascent soul, as it would benefit her greatly. Because of this, she came, but she knew if she failed, she would be ridiculed. However, she didn't care about that. Ling Xiaoshuang is going for the trial? Ling Xiaoshuang isn't someone in the Golden Core State Hall of Fame. The trial tablet has nothing to do with looks. Shut up. Do you not want to live? How dare you speak of her that way? Seeing Ling Xiaoshuang come to the trial tablet, everyone was excited. Ling Xiaoshuang wore a snow-white dress and stood before the Golden Core State trial tablet like a beautiful, vibrant lily. But before they could appreciate this beauty, she had soared up into the sky. When that powerful pressure arrived, Ling Xiaoshuang felt that killing intent. She finally understood why her master told her to come. This was indeed beneficial to her cultivation. When she reached a height of 21 meters, she couldn't go forward anymore. She knew she had reached her limit. She was disappointed, but knew this was to be expected. The next moment, she wrote her name, Ling Xiaoshuang. The words turned into a pale white ray and shot into the tablet. Ling Xiaoshuang is ranked 23rd on the Golden Core State trial tablet. People immediately spread her rank. Ling Xiaoshuang, who wasn't in the Golden Core State Hall of Fame, managed to rank 23 on the Golden Core State trial tablet, meaning that the number of people who could surpass her was only 23. This was already a very good rank. Ling Xiaoshuang stood below the tablet and looked at her name. She didn't leave immediately and scanned the tablet. It had returned to 300 names. Emo really was that soar into existence person. His name was beyond what this tablet could hold and only appeared on that white jade tablet. She had to tell her master this news as soon as possible. Ling Xiaoshuang immediately left, but discussion about her heated up and even surpassed Xiao Fei. Who said that one name was missing on the tablet? I counted again. It's 300. Someone immediately noticed the change. It really is 300. What happened before? But all the discussion immediately stopped as the cultivators at the square suddenly donned a fearful expression. An extremely powerful spirit sense swept over the square and didn't leave. It swept back again. Then, 2 more powerful spirit senses swept over. All the cultivators at the square were cleanly swept. Those spirit senses had a powerful and angry killing intent. They were obviously belonging to cauldron-filling state cultivators and above. No one dared to speak at all under such powerful spirit senses. Then, an extremely cold voice sounded in all the ears of the South Peace City cultivators. Lightning Cloud Sect's core disciple Tian Alfing was harmed at the Heartless Sea. The culprit must be at South Peace City. The cultivator who can provide information about this cultivator can get a Chao Huan pill if their golden core state, hollow meridian pill if their nascent soul state, and so forth, and will also be protected by the Lightning Cloud Sect. If anyone helps this person escape, he will become the enemy of the Lightning Cloud Sect, a truth realization state cultivator. Everyone knew that to be able to send his voice through the entire city, it was a truth realization state for sure. What shook people even more was that the core disciple Tian Alfing had been killed. Who had the balls to do such a thing? He was ranked below Fang Zhongshi, but he showed signs of potentially surpassing him. The city lord of South Peace City could only send people to investigate the cultivators and didn't dare to complain at all. In the city lord estate, a few body condensation state cultivators and above were gathered. The city lord estate had become the temporary gathering place for the Lightning Cloud Sect. On the ship, Alfing sliced off a solo cultivator's arm and a golden core state level 9 came out to help that cultivator. I think with Alfing's personality, even after the sea monster incident, he wouldn't let go of that golden core state cultivator. He probably chased after him, one body condensation state said. The cultivator sitting at the top was someone whose age couldn't be discerned. Even the cauldron-filling state cultivators below were very respectful to him. That cultivator said, "Recount the situation precisely, and was that cultivator who had his arm cut off found?" "Yes," the body condensation state answered. When that golden core state level 9 had just walked to the deck, the arm Alfing sliced off fell in front of that cultivator. Alfing told that cultivator to pick it up and give it to him, but that golden core state level 9 picked the arm up and attached it for the cultivator. Then, that broken arm cultivator disappeared when the spirit beasts attacked. He was probably eaten. Would Alfing also be, because of the spirit beast? One cauldron-filling state asked. He was interrupted by that elder Tian. Impossible. That spirit beast didn't target Alfing at the time and Alfing had great world transmission rune. He could escape whenever he wanted. Alfing was definitely killed by a cultivator. Elder Tian, Alfing might have been only golden core state level 8, but there's hardly any golden core state level 9 who could have killed him in South Peace State and prevented him from escaping, another cauldron-filling state cultivator said. Elder Tian sneered and was about to argue, but the cultivator sitting at the top waved his hand and stopped them. He thought for a while before asking, "What's that golden core state level 9 cultivator called?" "I've searched the records of Mo High City. That cultivator is called Moing and is a solo cultivator." A body condensation state cultivator answered. Moing? The top cultivator repeated. "Regardless if this name is real or fake, investigate this guy first." Moing. Ling Xiaoshuang heard that the cultivator who killed Tian Alfing was called Moing, and immediately felt something wasn't right. There was no way that a core disciple of 9-star sect didn't have means to escape. Meanwhile, a golden core state level 9 cultivator was able to kill Tian Alfing and make him unable to run. Clearly this golden core state level 9 was no ordinary person. Even Xiao Fei wouldn't be able to kill Tian Alfing easily, much less stop him from running away. Now, the name of the cultivator who killed Tian Alfing was pretty obvious. It was that Moing was his alias. Ling Xiaoshuang suddenly began to worry. She wasn't sure if Lightning Cloud Sect would think of the Golden Core State trial tablet. Her master said there were only a few who knew about the soar into existence, but Lightning Cloud Sect was also a 9-star sect. Would they not know about it? Luckily, she had filled up the tablet names. Thinking about this, Ling Xiaoshuang felt she should go back to her sect as quickly as possible. This was the 6th day and Yimo was still running. If the Lightning Cloud Sect knew he killed Tian Aofing, it would be useless even if he fled to North Far State. Instead, he would bring disaster to Song Yangzhu and others there. Thinking about this, Yimo thought of Luoying and Ning Qingxue. Would they be affected too? Even if they weren't, would they not do anything if they knew he was in the hands of the Lightning Cloud Sect? Ning Qingxue was at an 8-star sect. If the Lightning Cloud Sect knew about his relations to Ning Qingxue and made ethereal immortal pond hand over Ning Qingxue, they wouldn't dare to resist at all. Susu sect was a 9-star sect, but apparently it had declined quite a lot. It was even worse off than some 8-star sections. Thinking about this, Yimo shivered. He became more worried. The only way out was to not expose his tracks. He immediately gave up on the thought of finding Ning Qingxue and Luoying. He didn't dare to let anyone know that he was related to them. Power, I need power. Yimo cursed. He needed to find a place to reach nascent soul state and even higher. If he wanted to take on the 9-star sect Lightning Cloud Sect, he had to be at least disaster transformation state. Lightning Cloud Sect had truth realization state cultivators. 2 months later, in a very subtle valley in South Peace State, Yimo set up a huge spirit gathering formation and then another stealth formation outside it. He was planning on breaking through to nascent soul state. This place was very far from South Peace City. Yimo was sure that even truth realization state cultivators wouldn't be able to find it. Plus, this place was arid in spirit chi and although worthless, was the perfect place for Yimo to reach nascent soul state. Usually, people would find a place with lots of spirit chi to break through, but Yimo had a lot of spirit stones and even took out spirit crystals. He had to reach nascent soul state as quickly as possible or it would garner attention. If it weren't for the fact that the Golden Page World's laws were incomplete, Yimo would rather break through in there. Other than the spirit range that he didn't dare to take out, Yimo had prepared almost everything. This place was arid in spirit chi but still much better than North Far State. Plus, Yimo used top-grade spirit stones to stack up his spirit gathering formation. With this spirit chi density, it was already enough for him to break through. Yimo was Golden Core State peak stage and was fully prepared. He ate Chao Huan pills and started using 3-birth chant. The spirit chi around immediately rushed into his body like crazy. Yimo calmed down and focused on devouring spirit chi to form his nascent soul. If someone else was here, they would find that the spirit chi around Yimo was almost solid. The 10 million top-grade spirit stones he took out all had their spirit chi sucked out. Yimo felt his power increase drastically and cultivation essence growing increasingly stronger, almost materializing. His golden core spun faster than ever before. At the same time, Yimo felt his meridians have a tearing sense of pain. It was as though he would explode the very next moment. At this moment, his golden core slowed down and cracked. The core was cracked. Yimo knew this was the most dangerous moment. Many cultivators failed here. Yimo wanted to protect his golden core with his cultivation essence, but suddenly, there was a loud rumble in the sky. The clear sky was covered with clouds. The rumbling noise came from above the clouds. How was the divine damnation here so quickly? Yimo felt it was odd. He saw Li Yuqian break through, it was no way near as fast. Then, lightning the size of a baby's arm shot down towards him, closely followed by 9 more bolts of the same size. They all fell towards Yimo. Yimo was shaken. Although he had a lightning spirit root and could devour lightning sources, he couldn't devour such a terrifying divine damnation in such a short time. Even though he was using the 3-birth chant to the maximum, he was still burnt. His meridians cracked under the lightning but were repaired again with the use of 3-birth chant. The lightning struck down non-stop, and after the first 9 bolts, Yimo was covered in wounds. If he didn't have a half-Dao artifact protecting him, he might have been heavily injured with just the first wave. He felt his power increase another fold, but he didn't feel joy at all. This was only the first wave, he still had 3 more waves, 27 bolts in total. How could he take such a level of divine damnation? Emo couldn't care about his golden core anymore. He quickly took out formation flags and started setting up formations. He thought he could devour lightning source and didn't take divine damnation seriously, but now it seemed he was very wrong. Before the second wave came, he had to think of a way. He didn't have any better methods besides using formations. Luckily, he created a lightning storage formation after the lightning attraction formation. He needed a lightning storage formation. Emo threw out tens of formation flags. Rumble, Emo had just set up a foundation when the second wave came. It was another 9 bolts of lightning of the same size, but they came 3 at a time. Before Emo could completely digest the first 3, the next 3 fell. When all 9 fell, Emo's wounds that had just recovered a little got worse. Emo calmed down the more he used 3 birth chant. He felt his power increase even more. This lightning injury was much better than eating the first batch of Heaven Glory pills. When the third wave came, Emo finally breathed easy. His lightning storage formation was complete. 5 bolts came down first and were directed into the lightning storage formation. Then 4 more landed and were devoured by Emo. By now, the lightning only strengthened his body and didn't do any damage to him. Before the 4th wave came, Emo was already digesting the lightning in the storage formation. Emo felt the pure lightning spirit power and felt happy. This was a good method. He didn't waste a single bit of the power and instead used it to strengthen his body. The 4th wave came and 9 bolts landed at the same time. Emo was shook. He released Zisu without hesitation. Even he wasn't able to deal with such a wave in such a short time. Crack, crack, crack. Emo hacked open 3 of them and the remaining 2 landed on him. 3 more were stored in the storage formation and he could only digest 1 bolt. Luckily his power had increased after the shower of the first 3 waves. Otherwise the damage would be quite serious. But just the 2 bolts still tore his flesh apart. He had a half-Dao artifact protecting him, so he wasn't heavily injured. With the 3 birth chant, Emo soon devoured the lightning in the storage formation and completely recovered from his injuries. Emo checked Zisu and found that it wasn't damaged. It seemed his kitchen knife was really substantial. The divine damnation was over. Emo took a deep breath. This divine damnation was strong, but it was reasonable. After the waves of lightning, Emo felt his power increase greatly. Emo thought, is this nascent soul state power? Just then, Emo remembered his cracked golden core. He hadn't formed his nascent soul yet. What was going on? Did he fail? While Emo was still checking himself, the spirit chi around him rustled and flew towards him like an open dam. He didn't even need to devour it and it just went into his body. Emo was shocked and quickly ran the 3 birth chant. Luckily, his 3 birth chant was powerful enough to handle all the spirit chi. Emo felt his power increase more rapidly. His meridians started to burst with pain again. His golden core was about to burst. Emo didn't expect to encounter such a terrifying situation. Before he could find a good solution to this, the sky rumbled once more. At the same time, more lightning crackled. Each bolt was the size of a baby's arm. Emo was dazed. There were so many bolts here. Did the heavens want to blast him to pieces? But they had already started falling. So Emo didn't have time to curse the heavens as he released Zisu again and charged it with cultivation essence like crazy. How could a golden core state cultivator have such a terrifying divine damnation? Emo roared, illusion cloud exert will. Break. You want my life, but I won't give it. Countless purple sword rays flew out and clashed with the dense bolts of lightning. Even though Emo's power was already far stronger than before, the power of the lightning bolts was far from what his sword rays could block. 20 more lightning bolts fell and 8 were directed into the storage formation. The rest all landed on Emo. Emo knew that his formation could store at most 8 bolts or it would explode. Crack, rumble, no matter how powerful his 3 birth chant was, he was almost torn to pieces by these lightning bolts. His half-Dao artifact blocked the first few waves without being damaged, but this time it completely shattered. Emo spat mouthfuls of blood and crawled out from a deep trench. This divine damnation almost took his life, but luckily he still managed to block it. However, he was heavily injured. He found that the bursting sense in his meridians was gone. His shattered golden core seemed to have devoured this energy and formed a new type of energy. At this moment, Emo realized that his divine damnation was different than that of others. The divine damnation seemed to have hatred towards him and wanted to kill him. Emo didn't even have the energy to curse. He had counted that last wave had 36 bolts. In total, he had experienced 72 bolts of lightning. That was equivalent to 8 waves. 72? Emo was flabbergasted. He was definitely going through the 9-9 divine damnation, meaning that the last wave wasn't here yet. Fuck. Emo was grumpy, but he knew he had to digest all the lightning in the storage formation. Otherwise, the last wave wouldn't be any easier than the previous wave. The rumbling sound in the sky seemed to have disappeared, and the sky even looked clearer than before. However, Emo didn't feel easy like before. He knew that this divine damnation was sneaky, and if he rested up now, perhaps it would fall immediately. Emo quickly ate some recovery pills and started digesting the 8 lightning bolts in the storage formation. Suddenly, Emo felt his sea of consciousness brighten up, and his injuries seemed to recover faster. His meridians expanded and his cultivation essence became even denser. Emo was relieved. As long as his injuries were healed, he could take it even if the last wave was more powerful. At this moment, he saw a woman charge at him. "Move aside. It's my divine damnation." Emo just said this before he realized he knew this woman. She was so familiar. It was Mu Xiaoyun. Emo was shaken. "Xiaoyun, what are you doing here? Move aside." "Husband, I've been looking for you. I finally found you. I'm not leaving you again." Mu Xiaoyun cried as she charged over. Rumble rumble, before Emo could say anything more, the last wave fell. The first 2 bolts flew towards Mu Xiaoyun, clearly because she interfered with the divine damnation. Emo didn't dare to let her get struck at all. This last wave was twice as thick as the previous wave. Mu Xiaoyun clearly only had foundation establishment state power. She would die for certain. Without hesitation, Emo charged towards Mu Xiaoyun and released Zisu. 2 bolts were stopped by Zisu and 1 landed on Emo. Emo didn't have the half-Dao artifact armor now. So even though there was the 3 birth chant to help him digest the power, he still spat blood. Before Emo could worry about his injuries, he quickly asked, "Xiaoyun, are you okay?" But then, Emo immediately felt something was wrong. How could there be such a coincidence? While he was doing his divine damnation, Xiaoyun charged over and into the lightning range. This place was deserted for thousands of miles. That wasn't Xiaoyun. It was the heart demon tribulation. Emo realized this and Mu Xiaoyun disappeared. 7 more bolts of lightning appeared. Fuck! Emo cursed. He was tricked again. The divine damnation had lured him outside the lightning storage formation. Luckily, he reacted quickly and had realized what was going on. Before the 7 bolts fell, he had returned to his original position. Almost instantly, the 7 bolts fell down. In his fury, Emo released Zisu and didn't use any illusion cloud moves, charging it with only his cultivation essence and hacking towards the sky. Crack crack. Emo found that when he didn't use illusion cloud, Zisu showed its strong ability to defend against divine damnation. 2 bolts were hacked open by Zisu and dissipated. Out of the remaining 5, 2 were directed into the formation. 1 was forcefully devoured with the 3 birth chant, and the last 2 struck Emo again, sending him into the ground, heavily injuring him again. Emo didn't have time to figure out why Zisu was stronger fighting the divine damnation without using illusion cloud because he already noticed the huge change in his Dantian. The shattered golden core had formed into a small nascent soul. That soul had exactly the same appearance as Emo. It went into Emo's Dantian and also started using the 3 birth chant to devour spirit chi. The 3 birth chant ran even faster and the spirit chi around him was swept away. A few more rumbles sounded in the sky as though in dissatisfaction. Emo felt his injuries recover and get better. But suddenly, the heavens changed again. Emo thought, "I can't be this unlucky, right?" But this time, it wasn't the divine damnation. It was a large area of rainbow clouds that came out of the void and landed above Yemo's head. Such a familiar feeling. Yemo knew that when he formed his core, there were rainbow clouds in the sky, but this time the rainbow color was clearer. The colorful rainbow clouds mixed with the spirit chi whirlpool and landed above Yemo and his nascent soul's heads. Yemo felt his injuries instantly disappear. At the same time, his power increased even more. He broke through nascent soul state level 1 the instant he formed his nascent soul. With his foundation, his power still didn't stop even after reaching nascent soul state level 2. Only after reaching the peak of nascent soul state level 2 did it stop increasing. 2 hours later, Yemo finished digesting the bolts stored in the storage formation and got up joyfully. He had never heard of someone reaching nascent soul state level 2 as soon as they broke through to nascent soul state, but he was nascent soul state level 2 peak now and his power was very stable. His foundations weren't lacking at all. The divine damnation was terrifying and almost took his life, but the benefits it brought were unexpected. Yemo viewed his nascent soul and rejoiced. His nascent soul state sat in his purple estate and ran the 3-birth chant. This meant that even when he wasn't cultivating, his power would be constantly growing. To become a nascent soul state cultivator, this was indeed a yardstick. Yemo sighed before he packed up his formation and took out a new set of clothes before leaving quickly. This place was deserted, but his nascent soul state divine damnation caused such a huge commotion that Yemo wasn't sure if it would go unnoticed. After flying out a few thousand kilometers, he found a lake to wash himself in and changed into a clean pair of clothes. He then cut off his burnt hair before completely relaxing. Less than half an hour after Yemo left, 2 cultivators came to where he had his divine damnation. Someone seemed to have had a divine damnation here. There's even a rainbow spirit cloud. Is it the genius of some sect? One asked. The other shook his head. If it was the genius sect member of a sect, the sect would never let him have his divine damnation here. It seems it's a talented solo cultivator. Pity, such a genius cultivator is a solo cultivator. If he was in some big sect, he would be able to reach body condensation state without trouble. Then, the 2 flew off on their spirit artifacts. A few millions kilometers from where Yemo had his divine damnation, 2 women were talking. Both looked like nuns. The younger nun wore a white dress and the slightly older one wore a pale blue dress. But her extreme beauty was on par with that of the younger nun. The older nun had a look of shock on her face. Xiaoshuang, are you sure it's the Soar into Existence tablet? After a long while, the older nun gasped and asked in disbelief. Yes, master. I'm certain it's exactly as you told me. I suspect that Tian Aofeng's death also has something to do with that Yemo. If it wasn't for lightning cloud sect sealing off South Peace City, I would have been long back. The younger nun replied respectfully. She was Ling Xiaoshuang, and the older nun was her master Shan Bingfeng. Hearing her disciple's words, Shan Bingfeng fell into silence, but her heart was undergoing a tidal wave of emotion. She wasn't sure if she was the only one who knew about Soar into Existence, but when this event really happened, she didn't know what to do. She knew that if Soar into Existence was really related to the Great Change, then that Yemo mustn't die, at least not now. Suddenly, Shan Bingfeng got up and stared dazedly into the sky. Her face was full of horror. What? Master? Ling Xiaoshuang quickly held her master's hand and asked. Shan Bingfeng murmured, Annihilation divine damnation. Such a divine damnation really exists. Ling Xiaoshuang looked at her master in confusion. Master, what is annihilation divine damnation? Shan Bingfeng calmed down and looked at Ling Xiaoshuang suddenly. Is that Yemo golden core state peak stage power? Shan Bingfeng sunk into her seat helplessly and shook her head. Okay. We don't need to worry about that big change. The annihilation divine damnation appeared at this time. It's that Soar into Existence cultivator for sure. Seeing Ling Xiaoshuang's confusion, Shan Bingfeng sighed. Ling Xiaoshuang, I was planning to go see that Yemo personally, but now there's no need. He's dead for sure. The legendary annihilation divine damnation is a divine damnation of certain death. I heard that it's not the first time it has appeared since the ancient times, but no one has been able to survive it. The annihilation divine damnation means a divine damnation of a higher level. If that cultivator was Yemo, although he was only breaking through to nascent soul state, the divine damnation the same as the nascent soul state to hollow spirit state divine damnation. Countless cultivators die even under ordinary divine damnation, much less a divine damnation that's a level higher. Ha! Ling Xiaoshuang was also dazed. She didn't expect there to be divine damnation of this sort. Even a god wouldn't be able to pass that. Suddenly, Ling Xiaoshuang thought of a question and asked, Master, what if that cultivator is extremely powerful? What if he can pass a divine damnation of a higher level? Shan Bingfeng shook her head. Xiaoshuang, you don't understand. The higher level doesn't simply mean for a higher level of cultivation. He didn't just take the divine damnation for an ordinary nascent soul state to hollow spirit state. He just took the divine damnation for his nascent soul state to hollow spirit state. The stronger he is in the future, the more powerful his annihilation divine damnation is now. Then doesn't that mean when he's breaking through to hollow spirit state, he would still go through annihilation divine damnation? He would be facing the divine damnation for hollow spirit state to body condensation state. Ling Xiaoshuang asked subconsciously. Shan Bingfeng shook her head and said, he won't have a future. Annihilation divine damnation is a certain death divine damnation. There has never been a cultivator who was able to survive it. There wasn't one before, and I don't think there will ever be one. Even if he had an extreme grade Dao artifact or even immortal armor, he will still die for sure. Ling Xiaoshuang fell silent. She didn't know Yemo, but she felt pity that such a prodigy had died. Then, she asked her master, Master, how do you know about soar into existence? If even the trial tablet would protect the person, then why would there be annihilation divine damnation? Shan Bingfeng got up and didn't answer. The annihilation divine damnation meant that the heaven Dao wanted to annihilate him. No matter how the trial tablet protected him, it was useless. Annihilation divine damnation? Annihilation divine damnation. There really is annihilation divine damnation. All the powerful beings of South Peace State looked at the place Yemo had his divine damnation. They were very shocked. There was actually annihilation divine damnation in the South Peace State? Who would be overpowered enough to bring out the annihilation divine damnation? Countless people looked at Yemo's place and thought he was dead for sure. They were still shocked that such an event occurred. Yemo had just organized himself when he felt a few cultivation essence waves fly past, all towards where he had his divine damnation. That wasn't good. His divine damnation caused too much commotion. Even in this distant place, those ancient beings were startled. He had to go. Yemo quickly got on his flying ship and chose a direction to fly. As he went, he thought about his divine damnation. He felt something wasn't right. It was just a golden core state breaking through to nascent soul state, so how could there be 9-9 divine damnation? 2 days later, Yemo stopped on a grassy plain. The spirit chi here wasn't abundant, but Yemo liked the view here. It was green everywhere, and there were some unknown flowers mixed within the field. The aroma blew into Yemo's nose and made him enjoy the sensation of nature. His mind has been very tense as he always fought for survival and had little time to relax like this. Now, he didn't even want to leave as he completely relaxed his mind. Suddenly, there was the noise of rushing hooves. A horse charged over, and the person on it only seemed to just realize that Yemo was in front of him. He quickly pulled on the ropes. The horse kept charging, but the rider fell on the ground. The person seemed desperate to crawl up, but his legs seemed injured and he wasn't able to do so. Yemo studied this man. He was a young man in his 20s and seemed quite sturdy. However, he was covered in blood and there was an arrow lodged in his shoulder. He hadn't cultivated before. The youth struggled and couldn't get up. He quickly yelled at Yemo, "Big brother, please help me back onto the horse." But then, he suddenly stopped and said, "There's no time, big brother, hurry up and run. The people chasing me are here." Yemo already saw 5 people on horses chasing over with his spirit sense. One was holding a bow and arrow. Seeing that Yemo didn't even move, the youth saw the 5 people chasing over inside. Too late. The 5 people quickly arrived before Yemo and the youth. The bowman glared coldly at the youth and said, "Yi Wuxia, keep running. Why even bother talking to him? Kill him and take his head back. Kill the monk on the side as well." Emo wanted to calm his mind and think about what to do next, but he was interrupted by these people. And they even wanted to kill him. Emo didn't have the mood to bullshit with them. Before the five could attack, he waved a wind blade over. The five couldn't even react and were sliced in half. Before their blood could spill, Emo's fireball had already flown over as well. In the blink of an eye, those five people had disappeared without a trace. If the five horses weren't still there, the youth would have thought his eyes were blurry. "You're an immortal master?" The youth finally reacted and asked with a stutter. Emo ignored the youth. He saw with his spirit sense tens of kilometers away that a city was under fire. It was a chaotic scene. People were running and crying everywhere. The troops were slaughtering and raping in the city. Emo shook his head. No matter where it was, such things were unavoidable. The city was beautiful and surrounded by lakes. If even such a place couldn't avoid this calamity, what about the Luoyu city he built? The youth was an ordinary person, but he had heard about immortal masters. Others said that their city had no resources and thus there were no immortal masters, but now, during his escape, he actually met one. Just from the way this monk waved his hand and the five people disappeared, he knew this was no ordinary immortal master. Emo didn't answer him, and he didn't even dare to breath loudly. Emo took back his spirit sense and looked at the youth on the floor. He fed him a pill and said, "Eat this and pull the arrow out." Without hesitation, the youth ate it and instantly felt as if his body was in a cold shower, and the injuries disappeared rapidly. "Immortal pill?" the youth called out in joy. He got up subconsciously and he found that, in such a short time, all his injuries had recovered. His broken leg didn't seem to have any problem at all. Seeing this result, the youth quickly pulled out the arrow on his shoulder and knelt down. "Thank you for saving my life, immortal master. Please take me in as your disciple." Emo shook his head. He wasn't going to casually take someone in as his disciple. He was just passing by. "Your last name is also Yi? You escaped from the city tens of kilometers away." The youth saw Emo shake his head and became worried. He knew that such fortune was found only once in a lifetime. The South Peace State was boundless and there were a lot of immortal masters, but he was just an ordinary person. Where was he going to meet another one? "Yes, immortal master, I'm Yi Wuxia. The city ahead is called Dual River City. My ancestors have been living there for generations. My father is the city guard general. After my father died, I succeeded the position. However, the last city lord was killed for a crime, and the new city lord that the empire sent over is a tyrant," the youth said with fury. "The new city lord forcefully selected beauties from the city and killed any who resisted. Eventually, this led to the fury of the people. The city lord doesn't reflect on his mistakes, but instead tries to purge those rebellions. I couldn't just watch it anymore and said something against him, so he wanted to kill me. I just led my troops to rebel, but I lost and was chased down. Those troops didn't just chase me, but also used this time to slaughter, plunder, and rape in the city." Emo waved his hand. "I'll go see with you." Emo knew there were too many injustice in the world and he couldn't rectify all of them. But he saw this with his own eyes and couldn't help but feel angered. He was different from other cultivators. He had been living in an ordinary city and built his own city. He detested these troop disasters. Ordinary citizens had no way of resisting against it. Yi Wuxia immediately became excited upon hearing this. He didn't understand what Emo thought and thought Emo was going to take him in as a disciple. He said excitedly, "Immortal Master Qianbei, Dual River City is a place abandoned by the immortals, but it's the most beautiful city. Because no immortal masters come, many people don't know the benefits of it. If Immortal Master Qianbei is willing to stay there, you'll love that place." Hearing this, Emo was moved. The spirit chi was arid here, but it was no problem for him. He cultivated in the Golden Page world and had a spirit range there. He didn't need the outside spirit chi. If he wanted to hide from the Lightning Cloud sect, wasn't this place the best place? The only thing was that it was too distant. He wouldn't be able to get news as quickly. Okay, I'll go to Dual River City, Emo said and took Wuxia with him, bringing him to the city in just a moment. Wuxia looked at the chaotic city in a daze. But the voice that screamed in his heart wasn't that of the chaos here, but, "I want to cultivate." Emo frowned seeing the plundering and slaughtering troops. He was furious. The women were stripped naked in the streets and raped. The shops on the streets were smashed up. If he didn't see the scene with his own eyes, he could have never thought there would be such a ruler. This city was his own, but he let his troops rape, plunder, and slaughter. The sounds of screams and fights were everywhere. Emo didn't want to think anymore at all and threw out countless wind blades. Those troops that participated in these horrendous crimes were ripped to pieces. Instantly, all the troops in a few kilometer radius were all cleared. "Go gather your people. I'll deal with the problem here," Emo said to Wuxia. "Yes, Immortal Master Qianbei." Wuxia was shaking with excitement and immediately turned to gather his troops. Emo didn't hold back. He rained down wind blades from above the city and the troops were all hacked in half. In a very short time, all the soldiers here knew that an Immortal Master had come, and this Immortal Master specifically killed off those monstrous troops. Countless looting soldiers began to worry. They had a lot of people, but they were just ordinary people. In the wake of the Immortal Master's magic, the only result was death. Flocks of troops fled outside the city wanting to escape. But since Emo had established his killing intent, there was no mercy. Emo saw with his own eyes how evil these troops were. He had no reason to let them go. Soon the city quietened down. Emo had killed all who needed to be killed. There was a rush of hooves and a bulky-looking man with a beard rushed over at Emo with his troops. He jumped off the horse and saluted with his fists. "Immortal Master, why did you kill my troops? Our Hanliang Empire also has an Immortal Master." No wonder he wasn't scared. He also had an Immortal Master supporting him. Emo said coldly, "The troops who were slaughtering and plundering belong to you? This means you're no good person either." The bearded man immediately said, "The city belongs to me now. What's wrong with my troops killing here? These evil citizens need to be slaughtered and terrified before we can build a new city." Emo was shocked at hearing this logic. Seeing that Emo was at a loss for words, the man yelled, "You're an Immortal Master. Our empire also has an Immortal Master. These citizens do not follow our orders, so these insects need to be killed. I'm thinking of the long-term security of the city. The troops I've brought are the elite of the empire." The big bearded man didn't dare to say this was Emo's fault directly, but he kept bringing up the Immortal Master of the Hanliang Empire. He meant that the lives of the citizens were nothing compared to those of his soldiers. Emo couldn't speak with this person anymore. He nodded. "You're right. Your troops are indeed elite." The big bearded man saw Emo ease up and knew that he was afraid of the Hanliang Empire Immortal Master. He said with more confidence, "Our empire's Immortal Master." Before he could finish, Emo sliced off his leg with a wind blade and said, "Your elite troops still need your wise guidance, so I'll send you to them as well. Is that fine? You dare to hurt me?" The man pointed at Emo with shaky fingers. "I'm part of the royal family of the Hanliang Empire. The empire's Immortal Master won't let you go." But soon he couldn't talk tough anymore. While he spoke, Emo slaughtered all the troops he brought. "Okay, you can join them now." Then Emo threw out countless fireballs. "The Immortal Master of the Empire won't let you go." The big bearded man stayed tough until the end. He was engulfed by the fireball but didn't beg for mercy at all. At this moment, Wuxia brought more than 10 soldiers who were covered in wounds. When he saw the big bearded man and his soldiers in the fire, he was dazed. He then stuttered, "Immortal Master Qianbei, you killed the new city lord Long Mayan." Emo turned back and said calmly, "Yes, I killed him." "Huh." Wuxia was shook, but he quickly reacted and said, "Immortal Master Qianbei, you should leave this place quickly. The Hanliang Empire has a very powerful Immortal Master. If they find out, that Immortal Master would come here for sure. Why should I leave? I feel this is a good place," Emo said. He really had fallen in love with this place. The city was peaceful and beautiful if it was rebuilt. The emperor of the Han Liang Empire gave the city to Long Mayan. If he dies, the empire would investigate, Yi Wuxia said nervously. Yi Mo smiled and looked at the distant mountains and the two crossing rivers, as well as the boundless plain, and suddenly said, "This city doesn't belong to Han Liang Empire anymore. It belongs to me now." Then, Yi Mo turned to Yi Wuxia and said, "Gather people and calm down the civilians here. Take out all the wealth from the palace and give it to those who were harmed. Then organize this city for me. You'll be vice city lord. Tell everyone here that I am the new city lord, Yi Mo." Yi Wuxia was swayed by Yi Mo's calm tone and temperament. He stood up straight and answered, "Yes, city lord Yi." "Ha, immortal master Qian Bei, your last name is also Yi." Yi Mo nodded. Yi Wuxia said with excitement, "I will help immortal master return the city to the beautiful state it was in before. Please don't worry." Yi Mo cast a satisfied look at Yi Wuxia and said, "Okay, you can come find me at the city lord estate after you're done. Remember, there will be no more dual river city. This place will be called MOU City from now on." Yi Mo had been looking for a place to build MOU City. When he came here, he fell in love with this location. The lack of spirit chi was no problem for him. This was the best place for MOU City. When his formation skills reached Formation Grand Master, he would be able to include the countless grassy plains as well as the two intertwining rivers into the formation. MOU City? Yi Wuxia murmured before saying, "Such a beautiful name. This place will be called MOU City. We belong to MOU City." "Yes, we belong to MOU City," the troops behind him exclaimed. There were few people here, but their voices were united and strong. Yi Wuxia didn't disappoint Yi Mo. A week later, the city had settled once again under his lead. Yi Mo was quite happy with Yi Wuxia's capability. When Yi Wuxia came to Yi Mo, he had about 3,000 soldiers. Yi Mo took out his plan and passed it to Yi Wuxia. MOU City will be organized like this. The design masters can change the minor details. No need to inform me about that. Yi Mo made this plan based on Yi Xing's design. "Yes, City Lord Master." Yi Wuxia took the plan and answered, "After you're done with these things, you'll be my disciple. No need to call me City Lord every time." Yi Wuxia knelt down immediately and quickly called, "Master." Clearly, he'd long been wanting to become Yi Mo's disciple. He would be an idiot to pass up this opportunity. Yi Mo nodded. "Look at this design plan first. Tell me if there are any problems." Yi Wuxia didn't understand it, but he saw the tidy streets, houses, parks, hospitals and schools and was perplexed. He didn't know what a lot of these things were, but they would cost a fortune. This entire city needed to be rebuilt. "Master, how much will it cost?" "There are a lot of gold coins in the storage, but after compensating the victims, it won't be enough. This is like planning and rebuilding the entire city." Yi Wuxia stuttered. Yi Mo smiled. "Yes, I intend to do just that. This is the place where we will be cultivating. As for gold, that's easy." Yi Mo waved and a large pile of gold bricks appeared. There were a few hundred tons. This was stolen from the U.S. Gold Depot and now they finally came in use. This was only a portion of it. Wow, so many gold bricks. Yi Wuxia had never seen so much gold his life. Turn them into gold coins, this should be enough to fix up MOU City. When the city is rebuilt, I will set up a defense formation. Yi Mo needed to build the city first before he would set up defense and spirit-gathering formations. He wanted MOU City to become the most beautiful city in Luoyu continent, as well as the safest. Yi Mo then gave Yi Wuxia a jade card. "I've set up a simple formation in this house, you can only come in with a jade card. I need to find a place to go into solitary cultivation. If there's an emergency, you can crush the jade card." "Yes, master. I will build the city well for sure." Yi Wuxia then thought for a while before asking, "What if the immortal master from the Han Liang Empire comes?" Yi Mo now knew that this place was not an important place for the Han Liang Empire. Luoyu continent was too big. Yi Mo was sure that the empire wouldn't offend a nascent soul state cultivator for a small city. If someone comes, hand this jade rune to him. If he doesn't want to settle, then crush the jade card. Emo took out a simple jade rune and inscribed his spirit sense on it. His spirit sense was nearly of nascent soul state tertiary stage. Ordinary cultivators wouldn't disrespect him. Emo then left the city and went outside to find a place to enter the Golden Page world. Without power, he was nothing. After reaching nascent soul state, Emo's power had increased many folds. But Emo came here not for cultivation, but for the upgrade of the Mist Lotus Heart Fire. Old man Kong Yi gave him a Fire Lotus Heart or when he was in Golden Core state. He feared his power wasn't enough at the time, so he didn't dare to waste it. But now he had reached nascent soul state level 2, so it was time to upgrade his heaven fire. Emo took out the Mist Lotus Heart Fire and then the Fire Lotus Heart. What shook him was that before he even put the two together, the flame reached out and swept the Flame Lotus Heart inside. Before Emo could react, the Mist Lotus Heart Fire on his hand suddenly became volatile. That terrifying heat made Silver run very far away. Shadowless noticed this even earlier and was long gone. Emo was worried and tried to suppress it, but found that the flame didn't really explode. The power of the flame was increasing rapidly. Luckily, he spirit controlled this flame. If he didn't, then even if he was nascent soul state power, he wouldn't be able to suppress the power. The heaven flame was really powerful. This heaven flame was only orange color. 2 hours later, Emo felt the searing heat gradually dissipate and that feeling of absolute control returned. Emo noticed that the Mist Lotus Heart Fire wasn't orange anymore. It was red. It had been upgraded indeed. Emo could feel the terrifying power of the Mist Lotus Heart Fire. Luckily it was his own, or he really wouldn't know how to defend against it in an attack. He put away the fire and started organizing Tian Alfing's storage ring. The bead containing the lightning source was very powerful and clean. It did indeed have the spirit sense mark of a powerful being. Emo chose to leave it on the side for the moment. Even though he was in the Golden Page world, he had to be careful. Other than this, Emo's greatest acquirement wasn't the 5 million top-grade spirit stones but the great transmission rune and lightning-style attack ability. Emo lacked a lightning-style attack ability. Without this ability, he wouldn't be able to create his own using the 3-birth chant. Tian Alfing was a lightning spirit root and came from the 9-star lightning cloud sect. This lightning-style attack ability only had the cultivation method for hollow spirit state cultivators and below, but that was enough for Emo. This ability was called 11 lightning swords. Once perfected, one could use 11 lightning swords. These lightning swords got stronger the higher your power was. This cultivation method was very important for Emo. If he could use 11 lightning swords at the same time, it would be stronger than the divine damnation. At this moment, Emo realized why Ao Tianfeng could use so many lightning arcs. He was only golden core state power, so he wasn't able to use multiple lightning bolts himself, but he borrowed the power of the lightning bead to do it. However, although the blue lightning's attack power was a bit weak for Emo, other golden core state cultivators might not be able to survive it. Emo cultivated the lightning style ability very quickly. Other than this, he didn't use the extra time for cultivation. He instead used it to study the 5-element mobility as well as Purple Eye Soul Sever and Illusion Cloud 5th Strike. He was at the peak of nascent soul state level 2 and could reach level 3 at any time, but he wouldn't be able to reach nascent soul state middle stage in a short time. So instead of doing that, he might as well use the time to cultivate his battle techniques and escape means. The Illusion Cloud 5th Strike was completely different than the other 4 strikes as the 5th strike was derived from formations. Emo could use different attack formations to derive different Illusion Cloud formation kill strikes. So Illusion Cloud 5th Strike wasn't a set move. As for the Purple Eye Soul Sever, Emo was on the 2nd level and could partially sever people's spirit sense that they sent out and injure their soul. However, Emo felt something wasn't right. Theoretically, Purple Eye Soul Sever was just a spirit sense attack mean. It wasn't a cultivation method for improving spirit sense. The Purple Eye Soul Sever's power depended on the power of the spirit sense. As for a real spirit sense cultivation method, even though Emo had the 3-birth chant, he wasn't able to create one as he had never seen one before. Time flew by in cultivation. When he woke up from cultivation again, half a year had already passed. Emo was surprised. He was only planning to cultivate for a month or two, and then check on MOU City's progress. When he came out from the Golden Page world and scanned the city with his spirit sense, he saw MOU City busy under construction and breathed easy. Soon, he was overjoyed to find that the city was showing its general structure already. Everyone was busy building the new city. It seemed that Yi Wuxia had used the gold very well. Emo's spirit sense scanned over Yi Wuxia and found that he was greeting a guest in the city lord estate. That guest was a nascent soul state primary stage cultivator. Clearly, this cultivator had come for him. There was impatience on his face. If he wasn't concerned about Emo, he would have long ago broken out in a fit of rage. Yi Wuxia wiped the sweat from his forehead and said worriedly, "Immortal master. My master is in solitary cultivation. If we call him like this, it will affect his cultivation." Yi Wuxia didn't know what the consequences of the interruption would be, but his master already told him not to find him if there wasn't anything urgent. His master gave him so many gold coins to build the city. If he still went to disturb his master, wouldn't his master feel he was useless? The nascent soul state cultivator frowned and said, "I've waited for 3 days. Do you plan to keep me waiting? The empire is busy. How can I stay for so long at such dual leaf city?" Before Yi Wuxia could reply, Emo's voice sounded out, "There is no more dual leaf city. This is MOU City. Yi Wuxia, do what you need to do, leave me to deal with this. MOU City is developing well. You can increase the workers' wages to make them work faster." "Master, you're here." Yi Wuxia cried with joy and then immediately replied, "Yes, master. I will build MOU City to be the most beautiful city." Then Yi Wuxia quickly left. There was too much pressure facing a nascent soul state cultivator. Even though the cultivator didn't intentionally release his power, he felt he couldn't take it. When he came to the door, however, the pressure was gone. He knew that his master's pressure had overtaken that of the nascent soul state cultivator and felt even more assured. That nascent soul state got up immediately after feeling Yemo's power. His spirit sense scanned onto Yemo and found that he couldn't sense Yemo's power at all. He immediately began to sweat. He felt lucky he didn't do anything bad, but was also shocked at the same time. This cultivator was so young and had such power. Clearly, he was at least nascent soul state middle stage. Knowing that Yemo's real power was nascent soul state tertiary stage, this nascent soul state primary stage quickly saluted with his fists. "Hanliang Empire's Yu Shanping greets City Lord Yi. Please forgive me for coming here to interrupt you." Yemo's solitary cultivation resulted in great progress in both the Illusion Cloud Strike and Purple Eye Soul Sever. His power also increased from nascent soul state level 2 to level 3. When he saw that this person was only nascent soul state level 2, he raised his power to the max, crushing the cultivator from a psychological standpoint. Yemo sneered, acting as though he was bad-tempered, and said coldly, "Were you forcing my disciple just now? If my disciple didn't call me over, were you planning to do something?" "No, I wouldn't dare to," Yu Shanping quickly replied. Yemo sat down and said, "MOU City will be my city from now on. If the Empire is still confused about this, I will go to the capital to sort things out." Yu Shanping thought, "No matter how strong you are, you're too young. You're at most nascent soul state tertiary stage. How can an empire exist without power? Do you think I'm the only nascent soul state cultivator? Plus, which nascent soul state would have zero ambitions like you, robbing this barren land devoid of spirit chi?" But Yu Shanping said nicely, "The Emperor knew that MOU City had a new owner and sent me over to see and develop future relations. From now on, MOU City's City Lord will be City Lord Yi. Besides that, I'm also here for another thing." Yemo heard this and knew that Yu Shanping wasn't planning to take back MOU City after seeing his power. He sighed. High power was indeed useful. He said he was going to take this city, and the immortal master of the empire agreed without even waiting for the consent of the emperor. This was the first time Yemo felt the benefits of high power. Yemo knew that the world's order was built on the foundation of power. If his power was weaker than them, MOU City would no longer belong to him the next moment. Although the cultivators were contemptuous of MOU City now, If he planted the spirit range under the city and set up a spirit gathering formation, then there would be plenty of cultivators who would fight over this place. Due to this, before he had enough power, Emo could only set up a defense formation. Emo didn't stay aggressive and asked, "What other business does Dao friend have? I've just thought of this after seeing how young City Lord Yi is. Have you heard of the Truth Fall Palace?" Yu Shanping asked. He paused and answered for Emo. "I believe you definitely know about Truth Fall Palace, being a nascent soul state cultivator." His last words were testing to see if Emo was really a nascent soul state cultivator. But Emo didn't show any expression. Yu Shanping could think whatever he liked. Emo had heard of the Truth Fall Palace, of course, both in this life and his past life. Truth Fall Palace was a secret realm of the Luoyu continent that had a very high fatality rate. It opened every 30 years and had no power level limits. As long as you weren't older than 100 years, you could go in. Very few sects allowed disciples below Golden Core State to go. Most were Golden Core State and a small portion were nascent Soul State. Of course, there were a few prodigies who reached Hollow Spirit State in under 100 years. Such cultivators would enter the Truth Fall Palace for sure. Even at Hollow Spirit State, however, they might not be able to survive. Other than the fights between cultivators, there were dangerous areas that were lethal. But Emo knew that people like him who didn't have a sect to rely on were unable to go in no matter how much of a genius they were. This wasn't the desert herb plain. The requirements to go in was to belong to at least a 5-star sect. Ordinary people wouldn't even be able to go in. Emo didn't say that. However, he wanted to see if Yu Shanping was trying to trick him. Emo thought that no matter how powerful the empire was, they wouldn't be able to get a spot to go in the Truth Fall Palace. If they really could, then they were equivalent to 5-star sect. Yu Shanping saw that Emo didn't speak, so he continued, "The empire is not small, but it's only a 4-star empire. Before, a 4-star empire wouldn't have the right to go in, but last year, we found a rare fire seed, Lon Rock Fire. The empire reported this to the Green Pill sect." "Lon Rock Fire? The rank 7th Heaven Flame?" Emo asked in shock. That Green Pill sect also sounded familiar. Soon, Emo remembered it was a 7-star sect. Qiu Shui from the South P State 10 beauties came from there. Yu Shanping smiled. "It seems City Lord Yi is very familiar with the rare flames." "That's right. Lon Rock Fire is ranked 7th amongst the Heaven Flames. It's renowned in the entire cultivation realm." The Green Pill sect was also very happy and decided to give 2 spots for the Truth Fall Palace to the Empire. If the Empire could get good results there, meaning people coming back safely, the sect will help the Empire cultivate a Hollow Spirit State cultivator, letting the Empire upgrade to a 5-star empire. Emo was initially suspicious, but after hearing the words Lon Rock Fire, he believed them. 2 spots for the Truth Fall Palace was nothing compared to this. Yu Shanping continued, "The reason I brought this up was because I see City Lord Yi is so young. You're probably under 100 years, right? City Lord Yi is also nascent soul state cultivator, right? Then that means you're very suitable to go in." Emo nodded. He wanted this spot badly, but he wasn't blinded by greed. Why would the Empire give it to him? He had killed a member of the royal family. City Lord Yi is really younger than 100 years? Yu Shanping suddenly got up seeing this. He was very excited. Big sects had nascent soul state and even hollow spirit state younger than 100 years old. But the Empire didn't have any. Recommending a nascent soul state into the Truth Fall Palace. If his recommendation survived, he would get very good benefits. Emo laughed. He was far from 100 years old. But he didn't say that as it would catch the attention of the big sects for sure. "City Lord Yi, if you're willing to represent the Empire to enter the Truth Fall Palace, then I will help you at all costs. And I believe that if the Emperor knows that you're willing to represent the Empire, he would be willing to give you more cities," Yu Shanping said in excitement. Emo was speechless. Give him more cities? Did this guy think he wanted to be a local king? The power in the cultivation realm didn't depend on how many cities you had. Those 9-star sects all only took land within a 10,000-kilometer radius around their sect. Any empire would have much more land than that, but which country dared to fight with a 9-star sect? "I'm willing to go, But why are you so fervent, Dao friend you? Emo asked. Yu Shanping calmed down a little and said with some embarrassment, I've cultivated for a few centuries and only then did I reach nascent soul state level 2. If I don't come across any fortunes, I will be stuck here forever. The Green Pill sect is a 7-star sect. They promised if one survives from the Truthfall Palace, then they would help the Empire prepare 2 hollow spirit state cultivators. If 2 survive, then they would prepare 3 hollow spirit states for the sect. Pausing for a moment, Yu Shanping gave Emo a top-grade attack spirit artifact and said, If City Lord can really come out from the Truthfall Palace, you will become an inner sect member of the Green Pill sect for sure. I just want you to recommend me so I can go in too. So this was it. Clearly, entry into a 7-star sect was irresistible for a nascent soul state cultivator like Yu Shanping. Emo pushed the top-grade spirit artifact back and said, I have my own magic artifact. You can keep it, brother Yu. As for the spot, if I can go into the Truthfall Palace, I won't take the hollow spirit state spot. It's all yours. Ha! Yu Shanping almost fainted from this huge fortune. If City Lord Yi came out from the Truthfall Palace, then means he would get to decide who became hollow spirit state. Although he didn't know why City Lord Yi didn't want it, Yu Shanping didn't ask. Clearly, Emo didn't want to go into the Green Pill sect and so he didn't need to ask. City Lord Yi had such a powerful temperament. If he was a little careful inside, he would most likely make it out. Brother Yu? When does the Truthfall Palace open? When do I go? Emo asked. It will open in half a year's time, but you need to come with me to the Empire's capital first. Yu Shanping happily replied. Brother Yu, I still have some things to deal with at MOU City, you can go back first. I will get to the capital within 2 months. Emo didn't know how long it would take for him to get back from the Truthfall Palace. Wuxia was his disciple and he hadn't taught him anything yet. This journey was going to be long, so he had to teach Wuxia cultivation and set up a formation at MOU City. Yu Shanping didn't say much and just left behind a contact bead. He went back to Zhuliang City first. He had to report Mo's matters quickly. He had a good status in the capital, but there were 4 nascent soul state cultivators there. He needed someone to support him. If Mo wanted to go to the Green Pill sect too, his proposal would have been a bit hard, but now Mo said he didn't want to go. If Mo succeeded, that meant the sect would take 2 disciples from the Empire. His suggestions would get support from another person. After Yu Shanping left, Mo called Wuxia over. Wuxia was a 3-element mixed spirit root, but metal spirit root was the main spirit root. Mo gave him a cultivation method derived from his 3-birth chant. Mo called it 3-birth gung metal chant. At the same time, Mo made a 5-essence pill for Wuxia. This pill would make his spirit root more pure. Wuxia just received Mo's tutelage and didn't want to waste any time at all. He focused on cultivation. He didn't need to be there personally for MOU City's construction. He would only go there during his spare time. Mo started teaching Wuxia for a month while setting up the defense formation. Because Mo had limited high-level materials and MOU City was too big, he could only barely set up a level 4 defense and level 3 attack formation. But the level 4 formation was enough to deal with golden core state cultivators, much less those mortal armies. A month later, Wuxia could cultivate by himself. Mo left behind some cultivation notes and handed over all things in MOU City to Wuxia before heading to Zhuliang City. Zhuliang City was only 10,000 kilometers away, so Mo arrived the same day he left. But this distance was huge for an emperor, and that's why MOU City wasn't taken seriously. But Mo didn't know that MOU City being given out and the deal with him and Yu Shanping had nothing to do with the Empire. Just when he arrived at the city, Yu Shanping came out to greet him. Clearly, he cared more about Mo going into the Truthfall Palace than even Mo did. This time, Mo didn't hide his power. When Yu Shanping saw Mo's power, he was dazed, saying, City Lord Yi, your stealth cultivation method is too good. I thought you were at least nascent soul state middle stage. Mo smiled. Is brother Yu disappointed that my power level isn't high? Yu Shanping quickly waved his hand. No, it's already beyond what I expected. To be honest, I thought you were nascent soul state middle stage or tertiary stage before and I was really defeated. I'm still defeated now, but I feel better than before. Okay, City Lord Yi, I'll show you the rest of the Dao friends in the Empire as well as the Emperor. The Emperor came to greet Yi-Mo personally and held a welcome ceremony for him. At the ceremony, Yi-Mo realized that he wasn't completely correct when he thought he could take the Empire on easily. There were 4 nascent soul state cultivators at the Empire and no golden core state cultivators came to the ceremony. However, he knew that there was 1 golden core state tertiary stage cultivator going to the Truthfall Palace with him. Yu Shanping and 1 guy named Rong were nascent soul state primary stage, another one was nascent soul state middle stage, and the last one was nascent soul state level 8. They clearly weren't afraid of Yi-Mo, but wanted Yi-Mo to represent them in the Truthfall Palace. The nascent soul state level 8 cultivator was called Gulian, who was very hospitable to Yi-Mo and kept drinking to this nascent soul state level 3. That Qi Zifang nascent soul state middle stage cultivator and the Rong nascent soul state primary stage weren't very hospitable to Yi-Mo, but weren't overly cold either. From this, Yi-Mo could tell that the partner Yu Shanping got was Gulian. If he could get out from the Truthfall Palace, then it would benefit him and Gulian. But this was reasonable. Gulian was the strongest, so of course Yu Shanping would get help from him. But Yi-Mo could also tell that although the Emperor set up this ceremony and the nascent soul state cultivators were rather respectful to the Emperor, it was just the superficial side of things. They decided many things on their own. Clearly, they were here for another reason. A lot of beautiful women wearing explosive clothing danced erotically. Yi-Mo sighed. Although the Emperor only lived for a few decades, these few decades were much more enjoyable than the lives of most cultivators. A cultivator could live very long, but if he came out of solitary cultivation after a few centuries and died, he wouldn't have even lived as comfortably as the Emperor. These were the pros and cons of life. The Emperor was probably used to nascent soul state cultivators and so was just respectful to Yi-Mo but didn't seem scared. Yi-Mo and the nascent soul state cultivators chatted for a moment and the Emperor took his eyes back from the erotic dance and smiled at Yi-Mo. City Lord Yi, Dual River City belongs to you now. I can give you a few more cities if you want. Now that you're representing our empire to go to the Truthfall Palace, why not just join our Immortal Master Yard? What do you think? City Lord Yi, I can take back the city when I give it to others, but I promise for you that I won't take it back. Yi-Mo's face sunk and he instantly let out his power. A mere Qi-gathering cultivator, so what if he was an emperor? How dare he say he gave him the Dual River City? There won't be a Dual River City from now on, only MOU City. You're the Emperor of the Empire? I ask you to remember that I took MOU City myself. It has nothing to do with anyone and nothing to do with the Hanliang Empire. Don't make things difficult for yourself. Yi-Mo got up suddenly. His cold voice and temperament charged out, infusing the entire hall with fierce killing intent. He had to assert his dominance. If he didn't clear up this matter and left MOU City, the Emperor could say that the city belonged to him and it would cause a lot of disruptions. When he planted the spirit range into MOU City and cultivators desired the city, they would use this loophole to make the Empire take the city back. Then he wouldn't stand ground on reason. Even though power ruled over all in this world, he had to stand ground on reason. The Emperor was just a Qi-gathering cultivator. How could he defend against Yi-Mo's power? He immediately spat out blood. Feeling Yi-Mo's power, even Gulian was shocked. This city Lord Yi was so powerful. Even he might not be able to release such power. Was he really just a nascent soul state level 3 cultivator? Gulian didn't say anything. No matter what Yi-Mo did, he was benefiting from it. The reason they stayed at the Empire was because the royal family had a nascent soul state cultivator too, but he was always in cultivation. The second reason was that they didn't need to go out to find cultivation resources. The Empire provided it all for them. But he was a little annoyed at Yi-Mo and the Emperor. The Emperor was only a Qi-gathering disciple. Why are you talking about giving in front of a nascent soul state cultivator? And that city Lord Yi, you're already a nascent soul state and you know he's just trying to satisfy his mouth. Can't you pretend he said nothing? Even if the Emperor didn't mention it, Yi-Mo was going to bring it up. He could see that deep in his eyes, this Emperor was no ordinary guy. Perhaps he was really planning to take back the city in the future. Gulian and Yu Shanping didn't speak up. That Rongjung nascent soul state level 1 was too weak and didn't speak either. But the nascent soul state level 5 Qi Zaifang got up and stared coldly at Emo. City Lord Yi, are you here to assert your dominance? Emo sneered and raised his power even higher. But this time, it was all directed towards Qi Zaifang. Qi Zaifang was nascent soul state level 5 power, but he was only an ordinary nascent soul state level 5. Even elite nascent soul state level 5 cultivators might not be able to stop this. Qi Zaifang was forced back by Yemo's power and looked at Yemo in horror. Even Gu Lian and the others were startled. Yemo was only a mere nascent soul state level 3 but forced back Qi Zaifang with his temperament. Yemo was definitely a genius. The emperor spat blood and sat on the ground with a pale face. He didn't dare to look at Yemo again, but only he knew what he was thinking. Gu Lian felt good seeing that Qi Zaifang was scared. This Qi Zaifang came from the Qi family of the empire, and because he had a hollow spirit state family member, he wasn't very respectful to him. But Gu Lian knew that he mustn't let the two fight. He quickly got up and said, "Everyone, that was just a big misunderstanding. I think we just need to explain it. How about this? The emperor can announce to the empire that Mou City will have no connections with the Hanliang Empire anymore. Mou City just belongs to City Lord Yi. City Lord Yi doesn't need to fuss over such small matters either." Yemo was waiting for this and took back his aura. He then glared coldly at the emperor. The emperor quickly got up and said, Okay, that's fine. I'll make this announcement immediately." Qi Zaifang didn't say anything. If he fought with Yemo, he should win, but if he lost, then he would have no face to stay here anymore. He belonged to the Qi family, but the Qi family was only an ordinary cultivation family. They only had a hollow spirit state cultivator who was always in solitary cultivation. Seeing that the emperor agreed, Yemo nodded. "In that case, I'll be leaving." Then he turned and left. Seeing Yemo leave, Gu Lian and Yu Shanping quickly followed. Qi Zaifang felt ashamed and left as well. Rongzhang comforted the emperor and left. When everyone left, the emperor waved his hand in anger and shooed away the dancers. He then said with a green face, "A bunch of untamed wolves. I feed you and you don't even do anything. You give up my city so easily. When my long family Qianbei comes out, it will be the time for all of you to pay. You think you deserve the city? One day you will pay for your stupidity." Yemo didn't go very far before Gu Lian called out from behind, "City Lord Yi, please wait a moment." Yemo stopped. When the two got close to him, Yemo saluted with his fists. "Brother Gu, Brother Yu, I apologize for losing control at the hall." Gu Lian was a little contemptuous. A nascent soul state cultivator wasn't able to control his own emotions? Who would believe that? But he still smiled and saluted with his fists. "City Lord Yi probably heard from Dao Friend Yu about the Green Pill sect. I'll thank you first here." Yemo nodded. "What are you talking about, Brother Gu? That's what you rightfully deserve." Yu Shanping intervened. "City Lord Yi, Dao Friend Gu and I are here today firstly to thank you, but also to tell you that there are less than 5 months until the Truth Fall Palace opens. Before people go in, many cultivators gather at the Truth Fall City. 90% of the nascent soul state geniuses go there. During this time, there will be all sorts of cultivators discussing Dao and battles between geniuses. There might be a lot of spirit herbs and materials that you won't usually see." Gu Lian nodded. "Dao Friend Yu and I both want to go see this event. We have no right to discuss the Dao with others, but it's beneficial for us to listen in. Plus, we can see the fights between the geniuses of the big sects. If City Lord Yi isn't busy, we can go there together." Yemo was interested, just from hearing about the countless items being sold there. He always needed cultivation resources. He had an abundance of spirit stones now. If he could get more cultivation resources in Truthfall City, why not go? So the three agreed to go there together. The Golden Core State Cultivator came as well. The group was quite harmonious on the way. Yemo also learnt a lot of things he didn't know from Gu Lian and Yu Shanping. He knew about the death of Tian Aofing, but on the Golden Core State Trial Tablet, Xiao Fei beat Fang Zhongshi for 3 days before he was beaten by Fang Zhongshi again. Other than that, Xiao Fei was put 1 spot down again by a woman. He became 13th and that woman became 12th. Emo wasn't planning to ask, but he heard that woman was from the Black Ice sect, so he asked about her. He found out that the woman was called Zhao Rong, a core disciple of the Black Ice sect. This wasn't the most exciting part was that 3 days later, another cultivator went on the trial tablet and kicked Fang Zhongshi down from 11th. Who is it? Emo asked out of curiosity. 9-star sect God Wind Valley's core disciple Emojitan. That guy is only 24 years old, Yu Shanping exclaimed. Even Emo felt that Emojitan was overly powerful. He was only 24 but about to reach nascent soul state. Clearly, these people went to leave their names before breaking through to nascent soul state in preparation for the Truthfall Palace. He also knew that 2 more powerful women got onto the trial tablet. One was Infinity Sect's Wen Cai. Another was Clear Dream Mosque's Ling Xiaoshuang. When she first got on the tablet, she was 23rd, but 10 days later she had fallen to 33rd. From this, one could see how intense the competition was. When he arrived at Truthfall City, Emo realized what busy really meant. This city was like a marketplace. There were too many people. There were even a lot of Golden Core State and Hollow Spirit State cultivators. Occasionally, one could even see 1 or 2 Body Condensation State cultivators. City Lord Yi, we've arranged our accommodations. The Green Pill Sect has prepared us 4 rooms. They're in Siphon Hotel. Should we go there first? Yu Shanping asked. He paused before saying, Brother Gu and I will be going to the Dao discussion podium to hear the South Peace State geniuses discussing the Dao. Let's go together. Emo immediately said, Brother Gu, you guys can go around first. I'll come back at night. Gulian nodded and the 4 split up at the city. Emo had little time. His 1 minute cultivating was almost equivalent to 2 minutes. He wasn't going to stay with Gulian and them since he had to go to the marketplace to see if there were spirit herbs he needed. As for the Dao discussion scene, Emo felt that collecting resources was more important. He could check it out later. He had a lot of spirit stones now, but to Emo it was important to change them into what he needed. He still needed a new set of armor after the last one broke in the Divine Damnation. Emo came to the marketplace and saw countless stalls. This was true prosperity. He hoped that MOU City would have this sort of prosperity in the future. There were huge amounts of spirit herbs and materials but few high-level ones. Emo bought what he needed and what the city would need too. In a short time, Emo had spent a few 100,000 top-grade spirit stones. He didn't find anything especially good, but he bought in large quantities. Emo walked into a rather large forgery shop. He wanted to see if there were good armors here. There were a lot of people here, so he didn't get the service he had received at Yu Dao Magic Artifacts. Emo didn't even go upstairs and was attracted by a material on the first floor. It wasn't a high-level material, at most level 4. It was a pale blue string. Emo immediately thought of the blue moon or in his storage ring. It would be perfect to use this to make a few necklaces for Luoying and the others. Give me this, I'll take it. Show me this. A voice said the same time as Emo pointed at the blue strand and spoke, but he heard a crisp female voice saying the same thing. Emo turned around and saw a beautiful face. It was a nun dressed in white. Judging by where she pointed, he knew that she also wanted the strand. Emo didn't have to have this string. Since she liked it too, he would go elsewhere. Before Emo left, the nun suddenly looked at him and said, I seem to know you. You've appeared somewhere before. I have a familiar feeling. Her words shook Emo. He had never seen this nun before. How did she feel he was familiar? Emo feared being recognized a lot right now. If he was recognized, he would be finished. Just when Emo wanted to slip away, he heard a voice from the second floor say, Xiaoshuang. Hurry up, Xiaoshuang? Emo also felt this name was familiar. He looked at this nun and saw that she was nascent soul state level 1. Clearly she just broke through to nascent soul state. Such a young nascent soul state level 1 cultivator? Emo thought of the Ling Xiaoshuang from Clear Dream Mosque. This woman must be that Ling Xiaoshuang. Emo's thoughts continued rapidly, and immediately he knew why she felt he was familiar. This woman must have gotten to the trial tablet right after him. Only then would she remember his chi and might even think that the person who went to the trial before her was him. Emo knew he failed, but there were still a few people at the square that night. Although the Lightning Cloud sect wouldn't take notice of a failure like him, Emo was sure that the reason he failed was not because of his power being insufficient. If this woman could feel the power he left behind, she might suspect him. 9-star sects like hers would have close connections. He couldn't let her be suspicious at all. Otherwise, if she told the Lightning Cloud sect, he was done for. Emo's guess was right. The reason that Ling Xiaoshuang felt Emo was familiar was because she felt a sliver of his power. But she couldn't think of why she felt this man was familiar. Emo thought of this and immediately stared at her chest, then her face, and then her stomach. If she wasn't wearing Dao robes, his eyes would have rested on her legs. Ling Xiaoshuang saw that Emo looked at her with such lecherous eyes and immediately threw that sense of familiarity away. She was about to burst into rage. But before she said anything, Emo wiped the drool from his mouth and murmured, "Such a pretty nun." Suddenly, it seemed he realized his mistake and smiled lecherously at Ling Xiaoshuang. "You're so pretty. Were you talking to me before? I'm Ning Xiaoma. Oh, you like this material. It's fine. I'll buy it for you." Then, Emo kept staring at her with perverse eyes and called, "Attendant, attendant, hurry up and come. I want to buy something." Ling Xiaoshuang's face was pale with fury. She glared at Emo coldly and left. She immediately knew that her sense of familiarity was wrong. How could she be familiar with someone like that? Seeing that Ling Xiaoshuang turned around with speaking, Emo quickly called out, "Girl, don't be in a rush to leave. We can go to the Dao discussion social together. Say one more word and I will dig your eyes out." Ling Xiaoshuang didn't want to talk, but the nun at the staircase wasn't easy to mess with. "Brother, you've got balls. Do you know who that nun was? Clear Dream Mosque's Ling Xiaoshuang, you dare to flirt with her? Watch out for your head." Another nascent soul state primary stage cultivator walked up to Emo and said, "Ha!" Emo wiped the sweat from his forehead in shock. His shock was fake, but the sweat was real. If Ling Xiaoshuang recognized he was Emo, then he would really be in danger. After the attendant came, Emo quickly took out the spirit stones and bought the strings before leaving. He didn't dare to go upstairs. It was best to not show up at this place. Seeing that Emo ran away without daring to say anything, everyone laughed. Emo just wanted to go back to where he was staying in case someone else saw him. Emo just came to Siphon Hotel and saw Yu Shanping and Gu Lian walk out. Yu Shanping saw Emo and immediately called out in joy, "City Lord Yi, Brother Gu and I will be going to the Dao discussion podium. Let's go together. I heard that Black Ice sect Zhao Rong is going there too." Yu Shanping seemed to know that Emo was interested in this Zhao Rong and reminded him. He didn't expect to have really said the right thing. If Yu Shanping didn't bring up Zhao Rong, Emo might really not go. But since Zhao Rong was going, Luo Ying might go as well. Thinking about this, Emo immediately said, "Okay, I'll go have a look too." They just got near the Dao discussion stage and heard some ruckus. A nascent soul state level 3 was hacked off the stage and fell into the crowd. He spat some blood and crawled up before running off. Emo just noticed that there was a nascent soul state level 1 cultivator on the stage, yet he could beat a nascent soul state level 3 to the point of spitting blood. Soon, Emo realized he knew this person. When he was at the herb plane, the two fought over the purple flower fire. This guy was Infinity Sect's Dong Wuya. He was Golden Core State peak stage at the time, but now he was a nascent soul state cultivator too. His cultivation essence was stable. This guy was Golden Core State Hall of Fame number 4 at the time. Yu Shanping introduced to Emo, "This is Dong Wuya, Infinity Sect's core disciple, ranked 17th on the trial tablet." "Dong Wuya, young Master Dong is so powerful. Wuya Qian Bei." Dong Wuya looked around and saluted with his fists. The Infinity Sect's ideology is freedom of will. Although that friend is 2 levels higher than me, he didn't fight with a free will. Instead, he feared me, therefore he was kicked off the stage. We cultivators are pursuing the Dao. Then why fear? The crowd erupted at these words. Emo sneered. This was bullshit. Dong Wuya, He was only nascent soul state level 1, but his cultivation essence was more powerful than that nascent soul state level 3 cultivator. This was due to his talent and cultivation method. But since he won, he could say whatever he liked. Emo scanned this place with his spirit sense and didn't find Luo Ying. As for Zhao Rong, he didn't even know who that was. Infinity Sect Dong Wuya is waiting here. Would any other friend like to give me a few pointers? Dong Wuya stood and said, "This is too boring," Emo murmured. Gulian laughed. Boring? If you knew what the prizes for the top 10 prize were, then you wouldn't think it's boring. Each time the Truth Fall Palace opens, the city gives huge rewards to those cultivators who participate in the Dao discussion. The top 10 would get at least a low-grade Dao artifact. I heard that one time the first even got a hollow meridian pill. Who would reject such a prize? Yu Shanping nodded. Yes, even if you can't get into the top 10, being on the stage is a symbol of power. Even if you don't get the reward, being able to discuss the Dao with those geniuses is very beneficial. Plus, the stage does not allow killing, so most cultivators are willing to try. However, Gulian said that first prize was given only once, so clearly the pill wasn't given every time. However, Emo knew that he couldn't show off now or he would be monitored. The Infinity Sect has made quite big news lately. The other day, the core disciple Yuan Guanan reached the Nascent Soul State Trial Tablet with Nascent Soul State Level 4 power. His name spread across the South Peace State. Now there's Dong Wuya and Wen Cai. Gulian let out a sigh. Emo had heard of this Wen Cai many times. She was ranked as the first-ranked beauty in South Peace State along with Susu. Yu Shanping said, I heard that this Dong Wuya likes Wen Cai, but she isn't interested in him at all. Wen Cai only likes her martial brother, the number 1 genius of the Infinity Sect, Yuan Guanan. Emo hadn't seen Wen Cai before, but she definitely was an extreme beauty to be able to be ranked first with Susu. A beauty like her did match the number 1 genius of Infinity Sect. Yu Shanping smiled and said quietly, however, although that Yuan Guanan likes Wen Cai, he likes Luo Susu even more. Luo Susu is also the number 1 beauty of the South Peace State. I heard that because of this, Wen Cai is going to challenge Luo Susu. Hearing this, Emo's eyes turned cold. What sort of thing was Yuan Guanan? How dare he plan on chasing Susu? That Wen Cai clearly wasn't a good person either. Would Susu even bother talking to a trash like Yuan Guanan? What right did she have to challenge Susu? Yu Shanping didn't see Emo's face change and kept talking. That Luo Susu is no simple woman. When Wen Cai said there could only be one number 1 beauty, she said contemptuously that she never cared about the South Peace State 10 beauties. Wen Cai could take first if she wants. Wen Cai just told her to stay away from Yuan Guanan. But Luo Susu replied in contempt that she had a husband and other than her husband. Even if Wen Cai took all the men in the world, she wouldn't care. It could be said that in the first battle between the number 1 beauties, Wen Cai was utterly defeated. Emo heard this and knew that Yu Shanping was telling the truth. Susu indeed had this character. Knowing that Susu still thought about him, Emo wanted to go to Black Ice Sect immediately, but he knew this was just a dream for him. He hoped that Susu would go to the Truthfall Palace. Heaven Star Sect's Yi Shuanghu went up. His Golden Core State Trial Tablet 16th. Only 1 rank difference with Dong Wuya. This is interesting. Interesting. Emo saw another nascent soul state level 1 cultivator fly up the stage. Clearly, he had just reached nascent soul state not long ago. Everyone's attention was caught by the 2 geniuses. Dong Wuya and Yi Xuan, who clearly knew each other and greeted each other before taking out their magic artifacts. Emo knew Dong Wuya's magic artifact, a stamp, but he didn't expect Yi Shuanghu's weapon to also be a stamp. The 2 stamps clashed together with immense force in the air. Cultivation essence rattled, and although there was a powerful restriction around the stage, it still shook. The 2 were really evenly matched. The body condensation state judge nodded. Clearly, he was very happy with the 2's power. Emo could tell that the 2 were indeed very close and it would take a long time to settle the score. He thought of when Dong Wuya was Golden Core State Peak Stage, he was only Golden Core State Level 1. Now, he was Nascent Soul State Level 1 at the same time as Dong Wuya. He couldn't help to sigh about the wonders of life. Even though Yemo knew that he was able to progress faster than Dong Wuya because he got the Heaven Glory pill and a spirit range and countless pills, Yemo still felt quite satisfied. To be able to surpass a genius disciple in such a short time was a satisfying thing. Plus, Dong Wuya's resources were also quite good. A 9-star sex core disciple would definitely not lack resources. With Yemo's power, he was no longer interested in the fight between the two, but he saw that Yu Shanping and Gulian were enjoying it quite a lot. Yemo moved his eyes away and saw a pretty back that followed a nascent soul state cultivator into a spirit rest tower outside the stage. T-towers were like bars and leisure centers on Earth. They provided a place for cultivators to rest as well as all sorts of spirit wine and tea. The figure was definitely someone he knew. He couldn't even tell Yu Shanping and Gulian and quickly went into that spirit rest tower. Ling Xiaoshuang and her martial sister had walked around the market for half a day and just walked into the spirit rest tower. She saw Yemo follow in as well, and immediately her eyes flashed with a sliver of disgust. She said coldly, "This Ning Xiaoma is really shameless." "Xiaoshuang, who are you calling shameless?" The nun next to her heard this and asked. But before Ling Xiaoshuang could reply, she also saw Yemo walk in here, seemingly desperate. "That guy is shameless indeed, he actually followed us here," the nun next to Ling Xiaoshuang said in contempt. Yemo didn't see Ling Xiaoshuang, but even if he had, he would have to make sure if her figure was the figure he had seen. At this moment, the pretty figure turned back and saw the desperate Yemo, but she didn't mind. Is it really her? Yemo's head buzzed. He didn't think he would meet Dongfang Nana here. He destroyed her dantian and was about to kill her, but because Yi Zifeng was so crazy about her, he let her go. Then, the two left Luoying and Yemo didn't know where they went. Many years later, he saw her in a city in South P State without Yi Zifeng. Dongfang Nana was already Golden Core State level 1 power and her dantian somehow recovered. Her cultivation talent was also really good. Yemo was desperate. Without hesitation he rushed up to her and grabbed her shoulder. "I have some business with you. Come with me." Shameless thing. Ling Xiaoshuang saw this scene and couldn't take it anymore. She released her flying sword and was about to kill Yemo. She realized now that Yemo didn't come in here for her. He probably knew that she wasn't easy to mess with, so now he was harassing another girl. She had to kill such a person. Although it was quite some trouble to kill in this city, she knew it was fine for her. No one would offend her sect for an irrelevant cultivator. But before Ling Xiaoshuang made a move, the nascent soul state cultivator next to the girl already attacked Yemo. He released a foldable fan and the fan covered Yemo with a bleak chi. Yemo used his cultivation essence to dissipate the bleak killing intent. At this moment, Dongfang Nana just came to her senses and hurriedly ran behind the nascent soul state cultivator. She looked at Yemo with horror. She didn't know why Yemo suddenly attacked her. She had never seen this person before. "How dare you act up in front of me, Wu Yu? Seeing that you blocked my casual attack, break your arm. You used to grab her and piss off." The nascent soul state cultivator glared coldly at Yemo. "Huh, he's the 7-star sect Eternity Seas genius. Wu Yu. You mean the guy who's nascent soul state level 7 when he's not even 100 years old? Ranked 267 on the nascent soul state trial tablet? Of course it's him. The cultivator who offended him is gone for sure, but young Master Wu doesn't seem to want to kill." Yemo glared coldly at Wu Yu. Dongfang Nana was in front of him. He had to take her away no matter what and ask where Yi Zifeng was. Feeling Yemo suddenly increasing his power, Wu Yu was dazed. A mere nascent soul state level 3 dared to do this in front of him. Did he think he was Yuan Guanan? Wu Yu just wanted to speak up when Dongfang Nana suddenly pulled him and said, "Big brother Wu, never mind. Let's go in." She saw the familiar anger in Yemo's eyes and began to worry. "Why go? I must take his arm. This trash should be thankful I'm not killing him," Wu Yu said. Yemo calmed down. He knew that if he used all his means he would be able to beat Wu Yu. But this was Truth Fall City. He wouldn't be able to kill Wu Yu without people noticing him. He was too impulsive just now. Thinking about this, Yemo sneered and turned to leave, ignoring Wu Yu. He knew that it was impossible to take away Dongfang Nana here, but he already knew she was at the 7-star Eternity Sea sect. That was enough, you want to go? Leave an arm behind, Wuyu said coldly. His fan opened and swept about, directing a few sharp, bleak rays at Yemo's arm. He didn't just want to slice off Yemo's arm, he wanted to pulverize it. Yemo immediately felt a powerful cultivation essence wall seal him off. Wuyu made it look easy, but Yemo knew it was just that he didn't want to cause a big commotion here. Even an ordinary nascent soul state level 3 wouldn't be able to stop this. If he was going to counterattack, it would cause a big commotion. But there was no way Yemo wanted to lose an arm. Without a thought, he released Zissou. But before he moved, a white sword ray slipped past Yemo and Wuyu. That sword ray was like the scorching sun and easily dissipated the bleak sharp ray from Wuyu. Even the cultivation essence wall blocking Yemo disappeared. Yemo immediately knew that someone helped him. His spirit sense scanned that the white ray turned into a flying sword and landed on a man's back upstairs. It was already strange that a flying sword had a sheath, but even more strangely, the man carried the sheath on his back. Wuyu didn't expect that someone dared to intervene after he reported his sect, but he immediately recognized who the person who stopped him was. He said, "Su Changji, what is the meaning of this? What does this have to do with you? You want to go against me for a solo cultivator?" That cultivator said lazily, "I like to mind other people's business. If you don't like it, we can sort it out on the Dao discussion stage." Wuyu clearly knew that he was no match for this man. His face sunk and he said to Dongfang Nana, "Let's go." He didn't even go up to the spirit rest tower. Dongfang Nana glanced at Yemo fearfully and followed closely. Wuyu walked to the door and suddenly turned to Yemo. "You better hope you're this lucky in the future as well. Don't let me see you again, or it won't just be one arm." Yemo said expressionlessly, "This is what I want to say to you also. I hope you don't meet me again next time." Wuyu's eyes flashed with contempt and he just walked out. After Wuyu left, the cultivators in the tower laughed out loud. Yemo knew why they laughed. It was because his magic artifact looked like an ugly kitchen knife. Yemo put away Zissou like nothing happened and saluted with his fists to that cultivator. "Thanks for helping, friend." He felt this Su Changji was a familiar name, but he couldn't remember from where. This man only looked middle-aged, probably no older than 300 years. His power wasn't absurd though, only nascent soul state peak stage. Why was that Wuyu so scared of him? Su Changji laughed and waved to Yemo, "Brother, why don't you come up for a talk?" "Okay." Yemo didn't know why Su Changji wanted to talk to him, but he felt Su Changji had no nefarious intentions, so he went up. Ling Xiaoshuang glared at Yemo and said coldly, "This lecher has some luck. If it wasn't for Su Changji, he wouldn't be able to get away today. This Su Changji rose to fame in a short time, but I heard he's quite a person. Why would he click with someone like Ning Xiaoma?" Yemo saw that when Su Changji stopped Wuyu, no one dared to discuss the matter anymore, as though they feared him. What shook him even more was that he heard Su Changji was a solo cultivator. Su Changji clearly had a top-grade room in this tower as he could see the Dao discussion stage outside. "Brother Su, thank you." Yemo thanked Su Changji again. Su Changji waved his hand and poured a cup of spirit tea for Yemo before saying, "You're Yemo? You came from the North Far State, right? Peihai City's MO you also belongs to you." Yemo got up abruptly and looked at Su Changji in shock. He had never seen this person before. How did he know so much about him? Su Changji smiled and waved his hand to Yemo. "No need to worry. If I'm not wrong, you probably took care of that Tian Alfing. You only dared to do that because you didn't know who he was." Yemo felt his head buzzing. If this matter was leaked, he would have to flee to the ends of the world. How did he know? Wait, he was just guessing. He wasn't too sure that Tian Alfing was killed by him. He knew so much about him so clearly. He came from North Far State. But one had to be Hollow Spirit State to come from North Far State. How did he come then? Did he get referred by a disaster transformation state as well? Yemo suddenly remembered the name Su Changji and blurted out, "I remember you. You're the number one of the 50 nascent soul state kings in North Far State, right?" North Far State didn't have a nascent soul state hall of fame, but there were 50 kings. Yemo heard the number one master was Su Changji. Su Changji smiled and nodded. That's right. I'm that Su Changji. I only needed to see your unique purple kitchen knife before recognizing that you were that EMO that Wang Yusek's Shan Diqian Bei talked about. I was also recommended to come here, but by Ling Zhongtian Qian Bei. North Sands #1 master? EMO knew Ling Zhongtian. He was the #1 master of the North Far State and was also said to be a solo cultivator. Su Changji nodded. That's right, Ling Qianbei is undoubtedly the #1 person in North Far State, but the cultivation difference between North Far State and South Peace State is too great. Ling Qianbei can't even be ranked amongst the top 100 in South Peace State. Really? EMO asked in shock. Yes, the South Peace State cultivation level is far from what we see superficially. Many truth realization state cultivators don't show up in the world. They just want to ascend to the immortal realm. We never hear of them. Su Changji nodded seriously. EMO suddenly asked, Brother Su, since you were recommended by Ling Zhongtian Qian Bei, why didn't you join a sect? Su Changji shook his head. My situation is rather complicated. It can't be solved by joining a sect. Plus, even if I join one, I won't be able to break through nascent soul state. Why is that? EMO asked subconsciously. Disillusion flashed across Su Changji's eyes. He said after a moment, the cultivation method I'm cultivating is very special and high level, but it only has steps up to nascent soul state. There's nothing for any stages afterwards. 100 years ago, I was already in nascent soul state tertiary stage, now I'm still at this level. If I don't get a new cultivation method, I will remain a nascent soul state cultivator until I die. So this was it. Without a hollow spirit state cultivation method, a nascent soul state cultivator might explode if he forcefully tried to break through. EMO didn't know why Su Changji didn't change cultivation methods. But he didn't ask. Su Changji continued, Ling Zhongtian Qian Bei knew of my situation and he tried very hard to help me find the latter part of that cultivation method. But he still hasn't been able to find it up until now. He eventually used a recommendation spot to send me here so I can search for my fortune myself. I've been wandering around everywhere and made quite a name for myself, but I haven't gotten any news of it. Although EMO could write a new cultivation method using the 3 birth chant, he only just met Su Changji and didn't know if he was trustworthy. The 3 birth chant was too large a secret. Su Changji didn't know what EMO was thinking and continued. Although I'm the #1 nascent soul state in North Far State, if I go to the South Peace State trial tablet, I would barely make it into the top 50. I just don't want to expose that I came from the North Far State, so I didn't go try. For me, the most important thing is to find the latter half of my cultivation method. EMO fell silent for a moment before asking, How do you know so much about me, Brother Su? Su Changji laughed. Don't worry. I know a lot about you because you're too famous in North Far State. You're the pill concoction hall of fame #1 and created the spirit weaving pill. Old Man Kong favors you as well. News of what you did in the herb plane spread out. Only a madman like you would form your golden core during a battle. After you came out, you killed Ghost Immortal Sex GZ1. I went to Peihai City to look for you after Shan Diqian Bei said you were there. I've long admired a genius like you, but you'd already left Peihai City. It's really fate that we could meet here. He paused and said, You probably don't know what happened after you left. Many big sects went to Peihai to find you hoping you would join them, but unfortunately, they didn't find you just like me. Hearing this, EMO immediately asked, Brother Su, how is my Peihai MOU doing? Su Changji smiled, You don't need to worry. MOU is very well. After you became famous, many of your friends went to join MOU. Ghost Immortal Sect and that Pill Tower wanted to start trouble there. But Wang Yu Sect intervened and the 2 powers didn't even dare to say anything. I still have a letter for you here. Before I left Peihai, your wife and sister told me to give it to you if I met you. Then, Su Changji passed a letter to EMO. EMO read the letter and felt warm. Song Yangzhu, Yiling, Su Jingguan and them all sent their messages telling EMO they were fine and not to worry about them. They also mentioned that Su Changji helped EMO a lot. Su Changji wasn't familiar with EMO, but he helped EMO clearly because he liked what EMO did. EMO felt his heart rest easy and put the letter down. He thanked Su Changji again. Thanks a lot, Brother Su. Su Changji waved his hand and smiled. I don't have that many people to think about. I'm very free. Brother Yemo, you probably came to the city for the Truth Fall Palace, right? Yes, I want to go see too. The opportunity is rare. I only got an opportunity by chance. Yemo nodded. Su Changji fell silent for a moment and said, Brother Yi, you know why I came here. My cultivation method is very special and I can't change to another cultivation method. So if you go to the Truth Fall Palace, can you help me see if you can find the latter half of the cultivation method? After Su Changji brought him the family letter, Yemo was already planning to help. He just didn't know what Su Changji's cultivation method was. Now that he said this, Yemo felt he didn't need to hide anything. He got up and said, Brother Su might not believe me, but if I have a general look at a cultivation method, I can perfect it myself. I did this for my own cultivation method. Looking at Su Changji's shocked eyes, Yemo continued, If Brother Su trusts me, you can show me your cultivation method. I might be able to help. Yemo wanted to help Su Changji, but if he wasn't willing to take out his cultivation method, then never mind. Su Changji finally woke up from the shock of Yemo's words. If he didn't know who Yemo was, he would have thought Yemo was at least truth realization state or even an immortal. After a long while, Su Changji breathed, No wonder Brother Yi can dominate cultivators of the same level in North Far State. You have such overpowered capabilities. Thank you, but my cultivation method is different from others. It's not that I'm not willing to show you, but if you can't find the latter part, it's indeed unable to be completed. Yemo smiled and didn't speak. If Su Changji wasn't willing to take it out, he wasn't going to offer a second time. They had a good impression of each other, but after all, they'd been together for too short a time. Just when Yemo thought Su Changji wasn't going to take it out, Su Changji brought out a cloth made from unknown materials and placed it in front Yemo. This is the cultivation method I got, have a look. It's not something that substantial. Usually, cultivation methods were inscribed in jade slips. Yemo rarely saw ones recorded on cloth. It was clearly an ancient cultivation method. Yemo nodded and just read the beginning before looking at Su Changji in shock. Blue River Spirit Chant. Your cultivation method is a spirit cultivation method? Su Changji smiled bitterly and nodded. Yes, when I got this cultivation method, there was also this sword, Blue River Spirit Sword. The words Blue River Emperor were on the sword hilt. Yemo soon found that this cultivation method was much faster than even ordinary heaven-grade cultivation methods. Many cultivation essence routes and meridians were similar to his three-birth chant, but there were some places that needed to be perfected. Su Changji saw Yemo study the cloth intently and didn't say anything. After a while, Yemo wrapped up the cloth and gave it back to Su Changji. Brother Su, I've read it. It has definitely surpassed a heaven-grade cultivation method. I don't dare to guess what level it's at, but I'm sure that even if there was a latter half to this, it's not on Luoyu continent. It might be from another realm. I think it would be very hard to find the latter half of this cultivation method. Su Changji didn't seem too disappointed with Yemo's words and just sighed. How can I not realize that? But I find that I can't change to other cultivation method. It's very different than other cultivation methods. Yemo smiled and interrupted. Brother Su, if you want to cultivate another cultivation method, I have a way. This cultivation method is just unique in the cultivation essence you cultivate. This can be solved. Huh? Su Changji got up immediately and asked desperately, Brother Su, you have a way for me to change to another cultivation method? Yemo smiled. Of course, but I can also keep perfecting your Blue River Spirit Chant slowly. It just depends on which on you choose. You can really complete it? Su Changji grabbed Yemo's hand in excitement. If the Blue River Spirit Chant could be perfected, why would he choose another cultivation method? Yemo nodded. If Brother Su trusts me, then I can. But right now I'm only nascent soul state level 3. I can only perfect it to the hollow spirit state tertiary stage. The cultivation method afterwards will need to wait until after my power increases before I can finish it. I trust you, of course, Su Changji said without hesitation. If this cultivation method wasn't completed, he would be stuck in nascent soul state forever. Regardless of whether Yemo soused or not, he would try it. Plus, he liked the way Yemo did things and had investigated him. He knew what sort of person Yemo was. He wouldn't lie. Despite what Yemo said sounding absurd, he was subconsciously willing to believe it was true. Brother Yi, if you can help me perfect the Blue River Spirit chant, my life is yours. Su Changji got up and said seriously. If Yemo could perfect it, Yemo was akin to his master. No, Brother Yi, if you perfect it, you're like my master. If it's not that I really want to be friends with you, I would worship you as my master, Su Changji said genuinely. Yemo immediately understood and said, in that case, I'll take you in as a disciple. Su Changji dazed, thinking, I didn't say I was going to worship you as a master. Yemo laughed and patted Su Changji's shoulder. My master is called Three Birth. I'll take you in as a disciple for my master. How about it, Martial Brother Su? Su Changji immediately understood what Yemo meant and said happily, very well, Martial Brother Yi. Haha. Great. Su Changji didn't know which master this Three Birth was, but clearly he was no ordinary person to be able to teach a disciple like Yemo. After talking for half a day, Su Changji said he would go to Mou City in South Peace State while he waited for Yemo to come out from the Truth Fall Palace. He wouldn't need to roam around everywhere. Ling Xiaoshuang was very unsatisfied, however. He wanted to teach Ning Xiaoma a lesson, but that guy stayed with Su Changji and hadn't been out for an entire day. What were they talking about? Yemo just informed Yu Shanping and Gulian and moved to Su Changji's place. After his ordinary cultivation, he would help Su Changji perfect his cultivation method and discuss cultivation experience. Although he really wanted to buy an armor cultivation artifact, he feared being recognized by the Lightning Cloud sect, so he didn't dare to go out. 3 months swung by, and when Su Changji got his perfected to Hollow Spirit State Blue River Spirit chant, his joy was inexpressible. Although he didn't know how well it was perfected and if it would be worse than it originally was, it was so much better than having no cultivation method. Although it was Yemo's first time seeing the spirit cultivation method, it was all the same to him. The cultivation method might be a higher level, but it was still encompassed under the cultivation theory described by the Three Birth chant. Martial Brother, I'm going to find a place to reach Hollow Spirit State. I won't wait for you, but be careful of that Wu Yu. He seems magnanimous but is actually a vengeful spirit. He will be going to the Truth Fall Palace for sure. Be wary of him. Su Changji got his new cultivation method and couldn't wait to try it out. He hadn't been able to cultivate for almost 100 years. Yemo smiled. Martial Brother, don't worry. You can wait for me at Mou City after your divine damnation. As for Wu Yu, it was just as he said. Wu Yu had better pray he didn't meet him again. If he saw Wu Yu when there was no one around, he would become the next Tian Alfing. After sending off Su Changji, there were 10 days before Truth Fall Palace opened. Yemo eventually couldn't resist going out. He didn't believe he could be that unlucky. It had been 3 months since that event. He didn't believe he would meet that nosy Ling Xiaoshuang. Every time he thought about that divine damnation, he still felt some fear. He had to buy another set of armor. A good set of armor could save his life. Yuyang Artifact Store, it wasn't a very big artifact store, not even second grade, but Yemo came here especially. Su Changji had introduced it to him. He told him that the place didn't have top-grade cultivation artifacts, but the quality of items were very good because the owner Yuyang was a level 9 forgery great master and could cultivate extreme-grade spirit artifacts. If he was lucky, even half cultivation artifacts and occasionally low-grade cultivation artifacts would be produced. His quality was better than others of the same level. However, it was more expensive than many other places. Only loyal customers would come here. As soon as Yemo left, he felt someone following him. He immediately thought of Wu Yu and sneered. He was planning to take this guy out at the Truthfall Palace, but since he couldn't wait, then it wasn't Yemo's fault. Thinking about this, Yemo chose a deserted place to go. He didn't even scan his spirit sense out in case his stalker noticed. Truthfall Palace was prosperous and bustling, but most of the people were gathered at the market or the Dao discussion stage. 15 minutes passed and Yemo arrived at the most deserted corner of the city. He stopped and scanned his spirit sense out. Coming to this point, clearly the person behind him already knew that he was caught. It's you. Emo looked on in shock as he saw Dongfang Nana. Dongfang Nana didn't seem scared and worried like last time. She caught up quickly. Emo realized that Dongfang Nana wasn't trying to follow him but wanted to see him instead. Dongfang Nana walked up to Emo quickly and knelt down sobbing. Emo frowned. To be honest, he didn't have a good impression of Dongfang Nana at all. Big brother, Io Zifeng, kill me. Dongfang Nana wiped her tears and wept. Emo's face changed. He didn't even ask how Dongfang Nana recognized him and questioned her harshly. What happened to Zifeng? Speak. Dongfang Nana sniffed. I lived with Zifeng in Canada when the portal opened to the small world. Many people went there. I couldn't endure living a peaceful life, so I persuaded Zifeng to take me to the Duanhang ranges too. Zifeng is also in South P State. Emo was shook. Zifeng had no spirit root. It would be a living hell for him here. He wouldn't even be able to survive. Dongfang Nana's Dantian was destroyed too. Why did the two even come? Dongfang Nana nodded and continued calmly. When I came to the small world, we followed many people to Xianxia Mountain and came to the South P State. Coming here, we realized this was a cultivation world and there was no way back. Zifeng wanted to look for you, but we didn't know anyone here. We didn't know where to start. Just tell me where he is. Emo glared coldly at her. If this woman dared to lie, he would kill her immediately. Dongfang Nana said pitifully, I don't know, when I came here with Zifeng, we were barely surviving in a small city. Then we heard a big sect was taking in disciples. Zifeng and I went to check our spirit roots. Zifeng had no spirit root, but I was a pure with spirit root. No wonder she cultivated so fast. Emo didn't expect this woman to have such good talent. Clearly, the 7-star sect Eternity Sea saw this and wasn't going to let her go. They were going to train her as a core disciple. Dongfang Nana continued. That sect was Eternity Sea. The person responsible for taking in disciples saw that I was pure with spirit root and was very happy. But when they saw that my Dantian was shattered, they were very disappointed. Emo sneered. But then did they find that you've never cultivated before, so your Dantian could be recovered? Once someone had begun cultivation, a shattered Dantian was very hard to repair, but for those who hadn't cultivated, it was troublesome but not impossible. Emo didn't damage it too much on account of Zifeng. Dongfang Nana nodded in horror. Yes, they recovered my Dantian and are going to take me to Eternity Mountain. Then Dongfang Nana began sobbing again. After a while she said, Zifeng was very happy for me after knowing I was chosen. I said I must go to Eternity Sea with him. He agreed, but the second day when we were planning to leave, Zifeng disappeared. Emo interrupted. Was Zifeng killed by those Eternity Sea bastards? If you dare to lie a single word, I'm going to kill you even if Zifeng wants to protect you. Dongfang Nana sniffed and didn't seem to hear his words at all. I don't know. But before he left a letter for me. He said he can't stop following my dream. He will go find you. Dongfang Nana took out a letter and gave it to Emo. Emo opened it and saw it was indeed Zifeng's handwriting. He had written, Nana, sorry. Forgive me for leaving without saying goodbye. I know that after you realized there was cultivation in this world, your greatest hope is to cultivate. Cultivators have endless life, but I'm useless. I can only follow you and let you watch me die. I can't stop your pursuit of cultivation. I can't let a woman sustain me. I'm gonna go find my big brother. Perhaps he has a way of letting me cultivate. Sorry, I'm going. If I can cultivate, the first thing I will do is come see you. Take care, Zifeng. Emo knew that this letter was something Zifeng would write. Zifeng looked amicable, but he had his pride. If Zifeng followed Dongfang Nana, it would indeed be dragging her behind. Would the heartless sea let Zifeng hinder a genius disciple's cultivation? Emo wasn't sure if Zifeng's departure was related to the Eternity Sea, but they were very suspicious. He would only know for sure once he saw Zifeng. Emo wasn't too worried about Zifeng leaving alone, but more worried whether Eternity Sea would kill him. Dongfang Nana just kept sobbing and didn't even look up. Are you from the Dongfang family? Emo suddenly asked. He asked now because he knew she was from there. With their feud, he would need to be more careful. No. My full name is Chung Nana. When Dongfang Wang invited me to join the Dongfang family, I was indeed wholeheartedly helping him do things. I thought the future Dongfang Wang painted was real. Even when I was with Zifeng, I had ulterior motives. Dongfang Nana seemed to know Emo detested her a lot, and she didn't dare to look up at Emo. She just said quietly, "When Zifeng saved me and took me from Luoyu, I realized what Zifeng meant to me. I did a lot of things in Luoyu and Zifeng knew some of them, but he never blamed me. Without him, I have nothing. Emo sighed. Zifeng valued relationships a lot, just like him, but he could tell what was right and wrong. Zifeng's love for Chung Nana was really something else. He clearly knew she was wrong, but he still let her do what she wanted. But Emo could feel that Chung Nana wasn't lying. His senses had always been accurate. It seemed that Chung Nana was genuine to Zifeng now. Emo asked after a moment, "How did you recognize me?" He had changed his appearance and chi. Chung Nana had only seen him once and her power was very low at the time. How could she recognize him? Dongfang Nana said, "The moment you pulled me, I saw the fury and pain in your eyes. You looked at Zifeng and I the same way at Luoyu City. I would never forget those eyes. I immediately knew it was Big Brother." So that was it. Dongfang Nana was Zifeng's wife, but she followed behind a nascent soul-state cultivator like she was his girl. Zifeng was gone too. How could Emo not be furious and disappointed? Seeing that Emo didn't speak, Dongfang Nana suddenly said, "Big Brother, I want to leave Eternity C-Sect and look for Zifeng with you." Emo shook his head. "With my current power, I can't take you away. Just stay at Eternity C-Sect for now. You're a core disciple. No one dares to do anything to you. And I hope what you said just now was all true." "Yes." Chung Nana's eyes flashed with a sliver of disappointment. She knew Emo was speaking the truth. Suddenly, as though to explain something, she said, "That day I went with Wu Yu to the Spirit Rest Tower because my martial sister wanted to drink the snow fir tea from there. I was helping her buy it and Wu Yu wanted to come along no matter what. I know, I'm going to the Truth Fall Palace, stay at Eternity C-Sect and cultivate. Regardless whether I can find Zifeng or not, I will come tell you. Tell me first, which city did you and Zifeng separate in?" Emo asked. "Zifeng was immortal, he shouldn't have gone too far." Chung Nana agreed. "That city is called Shu Chao City. I asked the Eternity C-Sect's people to look for him, but they said they didn't find him. I believed them, but now that I think about it, they probably lied to me." She didn't know about spirit sense at the time, but after she cultivated and learned about spirit sense, she knew how easy it would be for a cultivator to find an ordinary person. "Take this. If anything comes up, message me." Emo gave his flying sword messenger to Chung Nana. He didn't leave a communication bead because South Peace State was too big. Who knew where he would be? Chung Nana took the flying sword and hesitated before saying, "Big Brother, you need to be careful of that Wu Yu. He said he would kill you in the Truth Fall Palace." Emo waved his hand. "Don't worry about that. If I was so easily killed, I wouldn't be standing here today. Go back first. Don't let anyone know that you know me." Although Emo's instincts told him that Chung Nana didn't lie, this was the cultivation realm. Anything could happen. It was better to be careful. If he had to compare, he would trust Su Changji more than Chung Nana. "How dare you, you shameless thing!" A crisp voice sounded out, and a sword ray flew towards Emo. Emo waved up a cultivation essence wall and blocked it. He then stared at the person and said, "Did I offend you? Why did you suddenly attack me?" He knew that sword ray was a casual attack, so he blocked it casually too. But he cursed his luck. He was scared of meeting Ling Xiaoshuang the most in this city because only she could guess that he killed Tian Aofeng. But every time he came out, he always saw her. Ling Xiaoshuang stared at Emo in fury and then at Chung Nana. "You're a shameless person indeed. 3 months ago you assaulted this girl, and now 3 months later you've tricked her here to assault her. You're a disgrace to the cultivation realm. Last time Martial Brother Wu didn't kill you, but I will kill you now." Then, Ling Xiaoshuang's power increased and her flying sword began to emit a bleak killing intent. Emo sneered. "With which eye did you see me assault her? Plus, if it was you, even if you let me assault you, I wouldn't be bothered. Ling Xiaoshuang just wanted to say, "There are still tears on Chang Nana's face. I'm not blind. How can I not see?" But after hearing Yimo's words, she increased her power even more and couldn't be bothered to talk. Chang Nana quickly stopped Ling Xiaoshuang and said, "Martial sister, thank you, but I think you've misunderstood. Big brother Ning didn't assault me. He's just discussing some things with me." Ling Xiaoshuang didn't expect that the woman Yimo was assaulting would speak up for him. She was dazed and forgot to attack. Ling Xiaoshuang could clearly see that Chang Nana wasn't being controlled, so she couldn't understand it even more. Her killing intent dissipated, and after a long while, she said angrily, "Shameless!" Then she turned and left. Yimo tried to avoid contact with this woman, but this didn't mean that Chang Nana didn't want to talk back. She didn't feel comfortable being called shameless, so she rebutted, "You're shameless." Ling Xiaoshuang heard this and was furious. She was the second beauty of South Peace State 10 beauties. Countless people admired her. This was the first time she was called shameless. But thinking that she cursed first, she only sneered and left. Yimo breathed easy seeing that Ling Xiaoshuang didn't stay. Yimo let Chang Nana go first and then he went back to Yuyang Artifact Tower. Yimo thought that the shop would be empty, but after coming here he realized how wrong he was. The location was distant and the place wasn't big, only about 40 square meters, but there were 4 chairs meaning that the place could only accommodate 4 customers at most. Each chair had a small square table in front of it. Yimo was surprised to find that there were already 3 people inside when he arrived. The 3 cultivators scanned him casually with their spirit sense and didn't mind. They just looked down while sitting on their seats as though waiting for something. There only seemed to be these 3 cultivators in the shop. Yimo studied the place. There were just a few spirit artifacts placed on a wooden rack. There was nothing covering it and a layer of dust on it. There seemed to be another room inside, but it was blocked by a formation, so Yimo's spirit sense couldn't reach it. If Su Jichang didn't recommend this place, he really wouldn't believe there was a forgery great master here, and a level 9-1 at that. How could this place even be called an artifact shop? "May I ask if Master Yuyang is here?" Yimo could only ask the cultivator sitting on the side, seeing he couldn't find anyone from the shop here. The cultivator sneered and didn't even look at Yimo, much less answer him. The 2 people on the side didn't even change their expressions. Yimo was speechless. These 3 really had an attitude. The weakest of them was nascent soul state level 4, the highest was nascent soul state level 7. Any of them had higher power level than him. Yimo could only go sit on that empty chair. The 3 saw that Yimo sat down and looked a little surprised, but didn't say anything. Yimo knew what they were surprised about. In the cultivation realm, a small difference in power was actually a huge gap. Yimo was nascent soul state primary stage, but these 3 were middle stage or tertiary stage. Yimo was the weakest here and had no right to talk. The 3 ignored Yimo, clearly not welcoming him here, yet Yimo still sat down. Before long, another customer came. It was another nascent soul state cultivator, a female who was only nascent soul state level 1. However, this woman immediately caught the attention of the other 3. She was a very beautiful female cultivator. Her body formed perfect curves at the door and she emitted a feminine vibe all over her. However, her face was very cold. Even Yimo admitted that this woman was quite attractive. She was on par with Ling Xiaoshuang and seemed to emit a unique attraction to men that would draw their attention to her. Her eyebrows slanted upwards. Clearly, she had her own opinions and was a very confident woman. Yimo took back his gaze. This woman was very beautiful, but to him it was just that. Both Luo Ying and Ning Qingxue were better than her. The woman saw that there were no more seats, so she just stood in the room and didn't speak. Yimo took no initiative to give his seat over to her. He felt the cultivation essence waves. There was a strong fire element presence, meaning that Yuyang was still forging. But someone else got up. It was that nascent soul state level 5 cultivator. He stepped out and saluted with his fists to the woman. "Martial Sister 1, I'm Tianxian Sex Ji Chuanxue. You can sit at my place." The female cultivator glanced coldly at Ji Chuanxue but stood there without moving. Ji Chuanxue felt awkward but laughed at himself before sitting back down. Yimo felt it odd. This woman was only nascent soul state level 1 and that Xianxia was nascent soul state level 5 and from a 7-star sect. How could someone like him be so easy to talk to? But soon, Yemo realized what was going on. If Xianxia sucked up to the woman just because she was pretty, he would have kept talking. But that woman ignored him and he didn't dare to get angry. Clearly, the woman had a higher status than him. Female cultivators with the last name 1 and a higher status than Xianxia. A nascent soul state level 1 with this level of beauty. Without a doubt, she was Wuxia. Yemo had a good impression of her at first, but when he realized this woman was Wuxia, he immediately felt disgust towards her. She had challenged Luo Ying. What he didn't expect was that a 9-star sect core disciple would come to this shop to buy something. Soon, the restriction was lifted and heat burst out from inside the room. A skinny, black man walked out, bringing the scorching heat with him. He was as skinny as a bamboo stick. The man walked out and the 3 nascent soul state cultivators sitting next to Yemo got up and saluted with their fists. "Master Yu!" When Wuxia called out, "Yu Qian Bei!" Yemo realized this man was Yu Yang. His power was nascent soul state level 9. Barely a Qian Bei. Yu Yang didn't speak. He walked to that counter and sat down before saying slowly, "This is the last business for this year. The items are not bad. Extreme Great Attack Spirit Artifact Black Rock Sword with a price of 1.15 million top-grade Spirit Stones. Half Cultivation Artifact Golden Net worth 1.9 million top-grade Spirit Stones. And half Cultivation Artifact Armor 9 Flavors, costing 2.9 million top-grade Spirit Stones." Then Yu Yang looked at the 5 and said, "The highest bidder gets it. If you have good material, you can use that in your bid." Yemo realized why Su Changji said this place was more expensive. Not only was the base price marked higher than other shops, but this guy also got bidders to come. No wonder the other 3 didn't like it when he came. Luckily Yemo made it on time today. This was Yu Yang's last business for the year. The other 4 clearly already knew about the rules and dates. Su Changji got this news from somewhere else, so it wasn't very accurate. "We understand. These are old rules." Xianxia smiled and said, "We're quite lucky this time. There are 2 half cultivation artifacts and 1 extreme grade spirit artifact. That's close to a half cultivation artifact as well. Good things, good things. I'll take 9 flavors." Yemo liked that half cultivation artifact. Insolence. A mere nascent soul state primary stage cultivator dares to take it. Xianxia sneered. When Wuxia heard this and sneered, Xianxia just realized that when Wuxia was also nascent soul state primary stage. He started to sweat and smiled apologetically. "Martial Sister 1, I wasn't talking about you. You're the core disciple of a 9-star sect. You're not someone ordinary people can compare with." Yemo looked at Xianxia in contempt and said, "If you lower your head just a little more, it'll be on the ground. Plus, Master, you said that the highest bidder gets it. Is there a problem with me taking it? If you have a problem, then bid." When Wuxia didn't expect Yemo would dare to disrespect a 7-star sect's core disciple, but she immediately realized that Yemo was missing a screw or 2. Xianxia heard Yemo's scorn and wanted to rage, but remembering that this place was Yu Yang Artifact Tower, his fury dissipated. He just listed Yemo as someone he must kill. He said coldly, 3.1 million. 3.5 million. What everyone didn't expect was that when Wuxia placed a bid even before Yemo, that nascent soul state cultivator went from the south door to the north door, but Yemo followed him without lagging behind at all. If it wasn't that he was choosing the path, he would suspect again whether Yemo had someone to help him. When that cultivator left the north door, he went even faster. When he saw that Yemo had no intentions of escaping, he felt a little unsafe. When the 2 were nearly 20,000 kilometers from the city, the nascent soul state cultivator stopped. He was sure now that Yemo didn't fear him at all. Although he didn't know why a nascent soul state level 3 wasn't scared of him, he didn't want to drag it on anymore. As soon as he stopped, he took out a blood-red sword without talking. As he spun around, the red sword brought about countless white demonic chi that swept over at Yemo. He was planning to kill Yemo as quickly as he could, no matter what schemes Yemo had. A demonic cultivator? Yemo released Zisu, also bringing about purple sword rays. Before the demonic chi even reached Emo, there were light cracking sounds. It was corrosive demonic chi. Emo didn't expect that this ordinary-looking demonic cultivator cultivated corrosive demonic chi. Even if Emo could block this chi, he wouldn't dare to let it touch him. Who knew how painful it was? Emo didn't dare to hesitate at all now. Zissou was releasing a more and more powerful chi as more and more purple sword rays were released, forming a defensive formation. This was the first time Emo used illusion cloud formation kill strike with a defense formation. Emo's cultivation essence was powerful, and as his sword rays grew, that demonic chi was completely blocked out by the sword ray formation. The nascent soul state cultivator saw this and was dazed, but the next moment he was happy. He didn't think that Emo was a mere nascent soul state level 3 yet was still so powerful. This meant that Emo believed he could kill him, so there would be no helpers. Xianxia was right. This was indeed an insolent guy. Seeing how he sneered at Xianxia and didn't even let Wuxia have what she wanted, he thought Emo had a big origin. But in the end, he was just an idiot. He had some power and looked down on everyone. This guy would be killed soon even if he didn't kill him today. Thinking about this nascent soul state didn't have any more concerns. A sharp howl sounded and the demonic chi started to rumble even more before pierced into Yemo's formation immediately. A putrid smell pervaded the air. Punk! You want to block my zero-life demonic mist with a mere sword ray formation? The cultivator used more hand signs as he spoke and the mist got thicker. This guy was definitely acting weak. Emo knew his power. He was nascent soul state level 3, but he had 8 spirit roots and cultivated the supreme 3 birth chant. Both his cultivation essence and spirit sense wasn't something that ordinary cultivators could compare to. He was sure he could even kill the nascent soul state level 8 Gulian easily. But this cultivator was only nascent soul state level 7 and his cultivation essence was so dense. This zero-life demonic mist was too shocking. Emo was sure that even Wu Yu wouldn't have it easy if he met this guy. The demonic chi grew more terrifying and his illusion cloud formation kill strike couldn't stop it anymore. If it was some other cultivator, Emo would use Purple Eye Soul Sever and even Shadowless, but it wasn't a good choice for this demonic cultivator. Even if he killed him, the demonic chi would still remain. The demonic cultivator saw that Emo didn't have any means to resist and could only watch on as his zero-life demonic mist invaded his surroundings. He sneered, a mere nascent soul state level 3. His power was not bad, but he had almost been scared of this cultivator. Emo scanned his spirit sense out and made sure that there was no one within a 1,000-kilometer radius here before dropping his hesitations. His power grew and the illusion cloud formation kill sword rays became denser. Pre-death struggle. The nascent soul state level 7 sneered in contempt. Die! Then, a bone-chilling red ray suddenly exploded from the blood-red sword and pierced out from the mist. This red ray seemed to even condense the air and charged straight at Yemo's dantian. Emo waved his hand and a red flame was released from his hand. At the same time, the red turned into a huge, terrifying flame that expanded from Yemo's sizzle. There were only burnt smells in the air, as the demonic mist had already been burnt to nothing. Clash. Zissou and the blood sword clashed together heavily. Instantly, blood rays splashed everywhere. Meanwhile, Zissou formed countless whirlpools of sword chi. The blood ray was intentionally spilt everywhere but had been burnt to nothing. Meanwhile, Emo used this opportunity to use Illusion Cloud Whirlpool Strike. The nascent soul state level 7 didn't expect that Yemo's cultivation essence was no weaker than his, and even a little stronger. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, and before the blood even landed on the ground, Yemo's flame had already vaporized it. At the same time, the flame began to sweep towards the cultivator. My zero-life demonic mist. The nascent soul state cultivator only barely took back his sword ray before Yemo's terrifying flame completely enveloped him. You actually have a heaven flame, The cultivator was swept away by the mist lotus heart fire before he could finish. Before his death, he finally understood why Emo wasn't scared of him. Even with his power, he was killed easily. One could see that ordinary nascent soul state tertiary stage cultivators couldn't even resist him. Yet, Such a powerful nascent soul-state cultivator was unheard of. But he couldn't even regret anymore as his consciousness was annihilated by the heaven flame. After Yemo killed this cultivator, he took the storage ring and turned to leave. After a while, he went back into the city through the south door. He didn't even care about that blood sword. Yemo knew that despite them fighting so far away from the city, the demonic mist was so powerful that there was no way powerful cultivators wouldn't notice. So he went back to the city immediately. At the same time, Yemo was very happy with his mist lotus heart fire. This made him want to create a battle technique for his heaven flame. Otherwise, no matter how powerful his heaven flame was, it might not be able to lock down the opponent if he was too strong. If the opponent also understood fire, it might be even harder. 15 minutes after Yemo left, 2 cultivators came. It was easy to see that they were countless times stronger than Yemo. One even frowned and looked at the direction Yemo left. Blood sword. One cultivator picked it up and looked at it. The other cultivator looked and nodded. It has some history. 3,000 years ago, it killed countless people in the hands of the blood demon Shirlan. Recently, it fell in the hands of a solo cultivator called Lu Jianxiang. He's also a murderous demon cultivator. Who killed him? It's said that he's very careful. Although he could kill people higher level than him, he never risks it, so how can he be killed? The first cultivator explained, the blood sword has a name called Blue Butcher, but since it's been left on the ground casually, it's obvious that Lu Jianxiang has been killed. There are clear signs of battle here as well as traces of the zero-life demonic mist. This means that the person who killed him has a similar power level. In that case, why did that cultivator leave Blood Butcher here? It's a top-grade cultivation artifact, but it seemed to have lost its spirit, the other cultivator said. The first cultivator frowned and said carefully after a while, Brother me, if I'm not wrong, there are marks of heaven flame. Blood Butcher was destroyed by the heaven flame. That's why it was dumped here. What? Heaven flame? There's a cultivator with heaven flame. The other cultivator was shocked by this news.